A very good evening and welcome to a Friday night full of delights here at the MODUS Super Series as Group B comes to its conclusion at the Live Lounge here in Portsmouth. Well, it was a night one packed full of drama here on the South Coast, and this is the best of the action. Work to do for Dan Reid, picking up just one win from his opening night's efforts here at the Live Lounge. He's going to need a kick on Friday. 2 points was also the mark that Lee Shuen found himself on, but has pulled out of the competition tonight due to injury. Patrick Mark got the better of Dan Reid in the last game of the session. He moves on to 4 points and finds himself in third spot in the group. As for Daniel Lee, he was full of glee, winning 3 of his matches, and is looking for a final on debut. Talking about finalists, Steve West is the specialist in getting himself into a Saturday night and winning a week at the Super Series. He may well be just a couple of wins away from doing exactly that. Yeah, it was quite the session full of drama. Phil Bars alongside. Before we talk about the play tonight, we should state that Lee Shuen has withdrawn from the competition this evening due to an injury picked up this morning. So we send our best wishes to Lee moving forward. Phil alongside me up here on the balcony. Let's begin talking about what we saw last night, because Steve West just seems to find something about this format and just seems to find his best game here.
Yeah, look, we said beforehand that Steve was the class act in the field, and he showed that last night. The scoring power was just second to none. Look, he did lose a game, but he missed 5 match starts in that. He should have been perfect. He'll be disappointed with that, but he showed his class, and look, I think he goes through quite comfortably this evening.
Well, he's joined by Daniel Lee as we have a look at the table in full now. Both of them on 6. Now, because of the situation of Lee Shuen's removal, Danny Smith is going to come into proceedings this evening as a last-minute replacement. And because of the complexities when it comes to Group B, he's not just got every chance of going through, he's got every chance of winning the group.
Yeah, look, Group B, like you said, it's that complexness of 3 from 5 that go through. The top 2 both only need 2 wins to go through. We've worked it out. 10 points will guarantee you a place in the final. So both Lee and West are 2 wins away. But that third place is completely up for grabs. And like you said, Danny Smith is more than capable of going through the card and picking up 8 points. 6 may do it with a good leg difference. Time will tell on that, but it's a fascinating session. It really is.
Daniel Lee made it on to 6 points. What was your assessment of his day?
Yeah, look, I think he's a real character. He does it his way. He owns that stage as well. He's got a real presence about him, and he's come here as an ADC qualifier, and he's put it on the map, and he's showing all those ADC players that there is a pathway here at the MODUS Super Series, and I think he's been a breath of fresh air.
Well, let's have a look and see what the bookmakers think ahead of proceedings this evening following the action last night. Well, not a surprise as you'd find, Steve West goes out as an 8-13 favourite. That is mainly because of his profile and previous form here. Yeah,
look, I think they've got that right. We said with Group C, we weren't convinced they'd got it completely right, but looking at this one, I fully agree with that. Steve West, the rightful favourite in the outright betting to win Group B.
And the main reason for that is we'll have a look at some of the numbers from yesterday here in the opening day's action of Group B. The highest winning average came from Steve West in the end, and he kind of was the standard bearer.
Yeah, and that average could and should have been a lot higher. It was around the 108 for a lot of it, and he dropped a silly leg that he'll be disappointed with. So that average, he can put 10 points on that quite comfortably. He has that in the locker. We touch on that scoring power, hits 180s for fun. And Murph said on commentary last night, he is one of the best groupers of a dart the world has ever seen.
Well, we are looking forward to tonight's actions. We've seen what the bookies think about proceedings. Let's see what Phil thinks with Bars's bets for tonight. It is an 11-1 treble here this evening.
Yeah, first up, we've gone for Danny Smith to beat Daniel Lee. I just think that because Danny has come in here on a free, he can just enjoy the experience. There'll be no pressure on him whatsoever. It's one session. It is make or break for him. I just think he can free roll, and I think 2-1 represents value out there. And then moving down from there, we've got the 180s bet. Look, Steve West can hit that on his own. We've seen him do it. I think there was 5 in one game, 4 in another. The scoring power is unreal. So there's a little bit of value there for our punters at home.
Most certainly. And if you are going to have a little bit of a flutter tonight, it is 18+, and it is begambleaware.org. Our first game of the session sees Patrick Mark in action against Dan Reid, and quite possibly for both players, the first game of the session could be their most crucial.
Yeah, this could be huge for both players. Dan Reed will be disappointed yesterday. He carved out opportunities in all 4 of his games. His doubling let him down, but the plus for him is he did have those chances. So if you can tighten up on the outer ring and keep creating those chances with those scoring power that he has, he can get a result tonight.
Shall we get it on?
Let's do it.
Let's get it on. It's a Friday night at the darts here at the MODUS Super Series. Patrick Marr and Dan Reed gets the action underway. Phil is going to join Chris Murphy in the commentary box. Hello, Chris.
Hello, Henry. Hello, everybody, and welcome along to the second night of this group. Now, we do have a change in personnel, as the duo on the balcony were talking about, but it's 2 familiar faces from last evening, kicking off proceedings, and the players that met in the very last match of last night. Patrick Marr won that match.
6-ball now.
By 4 legs to 1. The 29-year-old from Zwolle, nicknamed Patty. That's because he's called Patrick, you see. And Dan the Man, that's his nickname. Well, I wonder why that is. 26 years of age, 4-time UK Open participant. And he is looking to get a little bit of revenge after a kind of disappointing night. When you consider he was joint favourite with Steve West for this group before a dart was thrown.
Okay,
Really
first leg
will
is
want to put
Patrick to
in
throw first.
a proper shift
Game on.
this evening. Owen Binks, the referee for this evening's action.
100.
And it's a nice steady start for Pat Matt. Bill Barr's alongside me. As you were saying with
60.
Henry on the balcony there, it's a difficult group to decipher, but a couple of wins away, both Steve West and Daniel Lee, which means this
93.
match is enormous for this pair.
Yeah, absolutely huge for both of these because of the position that Steve West and Daniel Lee have manufactured for themselves. I fully expect
140.
those 2 to go through, and I think the rest are all fighting for that 3rd place, but it's more than achievable for all of the players.
44.
So 2 points here in our opener could take one of these on a giant leap towards tomorrow's final.
100.
And as I said to Henry up there, we commentated on all the games yesterday.
100.
Dan Reed had chances in every single one of his games. If he can tighten that up and carry on manufacturing those chances, he's going to be a danger tonight.
Yeah.
98.
We'll learn a
Patrick,
lot when he first
164.
goes for a double, won't we? Because that's when it all went wrong. Too many legs where he was missing not just 1 or 2 darts
41.
at double, but
And
he
you
was
require
missing
103.
3 visits at doubles at times. Now he's going to get a go here. And it might
Goes on the
sound
first leg.
a silly claim
Dan
to make,
Reed.
but that could be the most significant dart that he throws all evening, because straight
Second
away
is
he's
Dan
banished
to
those
throw
demons
first.
from last
Game
night,
on.
taken out a ton topper, and Dan Reed will be very, very pleased with himself.
Yeah, the perfect tonic. 1 dart at a double, 1 hit. After
60.
yesterday when we saw him missing 13 in one game, 10 in another, he should be able to take so much confidence from that. And that may
60.
just be the catalyst he needs to go on a little run here in Group B.
$140.
He'll still very much see himself as in with a chance. Why not? Couple of points on the board. That's only 2 behind the man he's playing
100.
here, so he can level that score. Makes it a really more important match for him than it does for Patrick. Because if he were to turn it around from here, Mark
44.
would be 4 points clear of Dan Reed, with only 6 for Dan to play for.
Yeah, the other one
140.
as well is that Danny Smith will probably want a Dan Reed win here as well to stop Patrick Mark getting to 6 points and keeping that 3rd position, the tally
100.
lower than it is at the moment. The lower the better if Danny Smith has any chance of qualifying tonight.
140. Daniel, 157.
We might get Dan, Danny and Daniel qualifying from this group. Now Dan Reed, well, he was hunting down the 57 there. Mark will get a go at
97.
61. If he goes the
61.
bullseye route, aiming for the 25, he'll get 2 at double 18.
43. Daniel requires 60.
Golden chance to break straight back for the Dutchman. And he's passed it up. Dan Reed looking at tops for
Games on the
2-0.
second leg. Dan Reed.
And after yesterday, this is a vast improvement from the man from Thatcham. And you can see that. There's a glint in his eye. There's a determination written all over his face.
A bit of a snarl there from Dan Reed. Determination,
44.
the correct word. Lobs it over the top of that one.
100.
He is one of those players who can go above or below. As we get a look at that Patrick Marr action.
85.
Bit going on there with the last start.
Yeah, a bit of shoulder involved there, but the follow through and the extension is very, very good.
100.
Like that from Dan Reed. There's no movement at all. Even on the last dart, he doesn't walk. It's fully stationary until the dart hits the board.
140.
All about replication. The only thing he won't want to replicate is his results from last night. And he's making a good start
100.
here.
The other thing to take a look at as well, he's -6 at the moment on his leg difference.
83.
So a big win here in the opener could reduce that. Because it may come down to legs when it's all so close, like it is in Group B.
60. Patrick require
A reminder, 10
149.
points will be enough to qualify. So Steve West and Daniel Lee, 2 wins away, the pair of them. They don't play each other until their very last match.
95.
So we'll certainly
Daniel
want to have got those 2
141.
wins by then. Wayward one from Reed. Matt here. Going to get another chance. He missed those 2 at double 18.
45. Patrick
This
require
time you'd imagine
54.
it'd be 2 at tops. That's the plan.
Games on the
And
third
that
leg.
is the double
Patrick
that gets him
Marks.
off the mark for the Knights.
Yeah, a nice, comfortable holder throw there.
Fourth leg, it's Dan
For
to
the
throw
Dutchman.
first.
And he'll just be thinking, attack the Dan Reed throw here and get back on level terms.
140.
It would have been a real disappointment, that closing defeat for Reed, because he'd struggled in his first 2 matches on the doubles.
125.
And he got that win against Steve West, a man who was looking for a clean sweep last night. And you were thinking then, well, he's going to get away with 2 wins. Rude awakening. In the curtain closer, went
100.
down 4-1.
Yeah, and just looking at the league table, we say Steve West and Daniel Lee need 2 wins to be mathematically through.
28.
Do you think 8 points will get one of them through?
Yeah, well, I think it's possible someone could miss out on 8 points, but certainly someone's going to go through on 8 points as well, aren't they? So Steve West in particular with that
125.
healthy leg difference. If he wins his first match, I think he's as good as there.
57.
Daniel Lee will play before that. And it's interesting because he's now playing a player that he hasn't played yet. In Danny Smith coming in for Lee Shewan. Shewan's injury
96.
denying us a repeat of that grudge match at the end of the evening.
It
58.
spiced things up a
Daniel
little bit
require
last night,
40.
didn't it?
Well, is Dan Reed going to get the exact result reversal that he
Games on the
wanted
fourth
here? He's
leg.
1 leg away from
Dan
doing
Reed.
so. Beaten 4-1 by Patrick Mart last night, and now 1 leg away from returning the result.
Fifth leg, it's Patrick to throw first.
Yeah, Dan Reed currently averaging 93.84, but more importantly, 75%
59.
3 from 4 on the outer ring.
Yeah, and he'd be closing that leg difference gap as well, wouldn't he, if he won this leg? As Phil mentioned it earlier, -6 becomes -3, but he
140.
also would drag his opponent down to -2.
Yeah, all of a sudden,
85.
Group B in that race for the top 3 is getting rather congested.
Not sure I can deal with it, Phil, after this afternoon. It went right down to the wire.
42.
I think it's about the longest we've had in a Group C for some time where we didn't have a player knocked out. It took till about game 10 before one player was knocked out. And we went
43.
right through to the last round of fixtures before we knew which players were going through.
Yeah, I've been lucky enough to be working on the Super Series since day one, and that's the most exciting Group C I can remember.
41.
Yeah, fair play to the two that got through. Shane McGurk and Ryan Harrington. They will be in action at finals night, along with Tommy Morris.
140.
There's still a chance for you to get your tickets as well. Come and join us here in Portsmouth if you are in the area or around the area. Saturday night, live darts. Tickets available by scanning that QR code,
100.
absolutely free of charge. All but a small booking fee.
And if you can't scan the
58.
QR code, dartshop.tv is the destination you need to be here tomorrow night.
Their websites are old-fashioned now, aren't they, Phil?
Old hat, isn't it?
119. Patrick, 116.
Right, well, Matt may need this, may get this.
76.
High wide
Daniel
and not
Require,
particularly
59.
handsome. So Dan Reed, to avenge that loss from last night.
Looking at tens to win it, but he's come
49.
inside.
Patrick, Require,
You
40.
can see by the look on his face, far from impressed. Patrick Mark gets another go. Last dart in hand, looking at double 10, and he
20.
can't find it either.
Daniel
so Dan
Require,
Reed
10.
breathes again.
Might have been a case. Wayne Mardle used to say it, didn't he? He darted himself. Maybe he martyred himself there, Patrick.
Game
Dan
shot
Reed
and the match.
Has got
Dan
the win,
Reed.
and that is exactly the start that Reed needed. A 4-1 result reversal, having gone down by that scoreline in the last match of last night. Reed returns a favour, a good average there, 90.34, 4 out of 7 on the doubles. A stark contrast to how he started yesterday evening, and it means that things get very, very interesting as he joins the man he's just beaten on 4 points, and the race is well and truly on in this group. Coming next then, Daniel Lee, who's 2 wins away from qualifying, takes on the incoming Danny Smith. Stay with us.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where Dan Reed has got his night off to the perfect start, sealing a 4-1 victory over Patrick Mart, which moves him level on points with Patrick on 4. Next up, Daniel Lee, who won 3 out of his 4 games yesterday, takes on Danny Smith, a last-minute substitute in this Group B campaign. But is Desperate Dan going to be the super sub? Here's Chris and Phil.
Welcome back, everyone, to Sporty Stuff TV and the MODUS Super Series YouTube channel. Here we are, match number 2 of 10. We said in the build-up that Daniel Lee needs 2 wins to guarantee a place in tomorrow night's final. Will this be the first? There we are, Danny Smith from Portsmouth, wearing a 25-gram Harrows dart. Daniel Lee from Birmingham, 24-gram Red Dragon dart. Played in the UK Open.
Okay, first leg, it's Danny to throw
year.
first.
Lost out.
Game on.
Lost out to someone we know very well here at the Super Series in Conor Heenahan. Not bad company.
134.
Yeah, interesting matchup this. I don't know. Really, we were looking forward to like the sort of sadistic ones of us where we were hoping to see that meeting between Daniel Lee and Lee Shewan, because it did have some fireworks at the end of last night. Now, Shewan's suffered an injury. He's decided that he couldn't compete. Informed the organisers. Danny Smith, local to the area, a late replacement. Would Daniel Lee rather be starting his match against Shewan, a man he's beaten last night but had a bit of beef with, or against a complete unknown quantity to him?
I think he'd rather play someone he knows what kind of game he's going to get. When you're playing someone for the first time, you try and suss their game out and see what they're about. You get used to playing in rhythm and pace. So, me personally, I'd rather play someone I've already played.
Yeah, it's an interesting
137.
sort of change in the dynamics of the group. Danny will be desperate for points.
Danny record 114.
Going to get 6 darts at this 114. If he needs them, he will do.
58.
I've seen a couple of occasions recently where players have come in to Group C as a late replacement. Tommy Morris last week, of course, he's gone on to reach finals like this week. Andy Jenkins a few weeks ago as well. But coming into Group B, you actually do have a real chance of qualifying, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Because of... He's missed a big number. So because of that, 3 from 5 always gives you the opportunity.
Yeah, even if you won all 5 of your matches in Group C, you might not make it. If you win all 4 in this group, you probably will.
Yeah, and Danny Smith holds in the opener.
Second against Daniel.
He made a mess of the big number, but tops wasn't an issue. And the Pompey man leads 1-0. I suppose the one good thing, if he could win all 4 and get through, he'd bring a few some more, and this place would be rocking.
Yeah, Tommy Morris doesn't live from far away either. He's in Poole.
85.
He said he'll fill the place up. Hope you're good to your word, Tommy.
It's a perfect first start.
120.
From Daniel Lee. I'm disappointed that to get the bounce out.
43.
Danny Smith trying for cover, but it's not there.
96. $59.
Quirky little bit about Danny Smith's darts. You'll notice the one that hasn't got the red rings in. Was chatting to him about this because people thought it was a different
61.
dart, but it's not. That he once snapped a point in them, and to get the whole point out, the dart had to be heated up, and all the dye from the rings came out.
Daniel, your record 139.
I know you picked him in Barza's bets, Phil. I know you're a big believer in the ability of Danny Smith, aren't you?
59.
Yeah, look, absolutely. And when you come here, that there can be pressure on you. But when you're a substitute, you've got a little bit of a free roll. The shoulders can be loose.
180.
Just like that.
Daniel, you're
As we
required
find our
80.
first maximum of this tie. Danny Smith leaving the lesser spotted double 17 if he gets a go.
60.
Or will he go for
And
it?
he required 34.
180 to leave it, but he does have the option of maybe a 6 or a 10. No, straight for it. Now does he split? Now he wishes he could because he is completely locked out. If he finds a way in here, look at the portion he's got there.
No score.
Yeah, no score,
Daniel,
no
you're required
chance.
20.
Could see absolutely none of it. So Daniel Lee stepping in at double
Game's on
10
the
to level
second
us up.
leg. Daniel
at one
Lee.
apiece. Julie obliges.
So look, it's Danny to throw first. Game on.
Our official Owen Binks this evening actually had a chat with the 3 Daniels, all different
93.
variations of the name, and made sure they were comfortable with him just saying the first name for the start of legs, etc., because they're similar. He could have offered
48.
both names, but because they're all actually got a different version of the name, they're happy with it. We've got Daniel, Danny, and Dan in this group.
Triple D it is.
100.
Lee were to lose this match, do you think that he might, he's one of the players that is a completely new kid. He looks a very confident player, that has to be said, but do you think that he might start feeling the pressure, feeling the
85.
pinch a little bit?
I don't know him as a character, but just looking at him, I don't think so. I think he believes in his own ability, he backs his own ability, and he'll just get on with the job in hand.
81.
Yeah, because he plays Steve West in his last match as well, every game is going to be against a player that is chasing him rather than the other way around.
140.
Yeah, and I think that's a very good thing for him because you wouldn't want to go into a last leg or a last game decider against a man of Steve West caliber needing the points.
Yeah, in
57.
that scenario, we might see Daniel waving goodbye. Danny Smith, though, trying to make his imprint on this group,
129.
looking to
And he
do
got
it in the
170.
most sensational style.
And his throws under a little bit of pressure here because the 170 isn't going to go and
42.
he can't find a treble
And
either.
you require 99.
Is this the first opportunity for Daniel Lee to break the Smith throw? He's going to get a dart at tops,
79.
but drags it
And he
low.
require 128.
Well, he was going for the treble 18, but didn't get even the single and would have still had an out had he done that. So Lee will get
44.
another opportunity to bag
Daniel,
the
you
break here.
require 20.
Yeah, we'll come back to that dart in a minute. We'll see what Daniel Lee does
Game's
here.
on the
But he
third
only
leg.
needs the one, and it is
Daniel
our
Lee.
first break of throw. Daniel Lee, clinical to lead 2-1. But going back to that dart from Danny
Fourth leg, it's
Smith,
Daniel to throw
Chris,
first.
the first start, knowing that you've got
Game
two
on.
shots at it, you almost have the professional miss where you go high on the first one to give yourself a marker if it doesn't go in.
Yeah, had he hit the single 18, treble 20, would have left him the bullseye.
99.
How desperate does it get for the man who calls himself Desperate Dan if he loses this first game?
83.
It leaves him with no wiggle room whatsoever. That 6 points may get you through.
100.
I think the hope he's got is that he still has to play both Patrick Marr and Dan Reed. They, of course, are the two that he's really trying to catch, isn't he?
80.
But it goes back to the same point we made about Daniel Lee. He then will probably have to beat Steve West.
60.
Yeah, so, as is always the case, actually, in Group B on a Friday night, the first games can be so important because things
140.
move very quickly in this group.
$84.
Have some weird and wonderful ways, Daniel Lee, but I think one of the things that he does need to sharpen up sometimes is knowing exactly where he is before he
58.
approaches the hook. He often
Daniel,
has to stop and check the score
158.
during visits.
And we saw that from Jack Main in Group C quite a lot. After darts 1 and 2, was then checking to see where he was, and just a little bit of inexperience,
54.
perhaps.
And he require 140.
Well, 140. Not going to go. No 140. How about 104 for his opponent?
60. Daniel, you require 104.
84. Treble 20 for double 12. Finds the treble, Chris.
Yeah, I was about to criticise him staying there,
80.
but what do I know?
Danny require 80.
Other options available, but he managed to squeeze it in. Not the double, though. So Smith will look. Well, that's... Oh, well, I was wondering whether that was intentional or not, but his reaction told me it wasn't.
60.
Low dart
Daniel, you're
in the
required
20, the skinny
24.
bit of the 20, which left double top open, but actually he was a little bit too close for comfort to the treble for his
12.
liking. However, he does get a reprieve.
Danny required 20.
All a bit edgy.
Very edgy. Daniel Lee missing 3
Gauge
darts
on
in
the
hand and
fourth
pays the ultimate
Danny
prize.
Smith.
As Danny Smith comes back, pins 10s at the first time of asking, and we have a level game at 2 apiece.
Fifth leg, it's Danny to throw first. Game on.
Yeah, and I think Lee thought that he was throwing first. He started stepping forward.
95.
He knows that he's going to be in for a game here. He's involved in one, but he may come to rue the fact that he missed 4 darts to lead this match 3-1.
60.
Yeah, could have put some pressure on Steve West.
140.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing Steve in action next. He faces Dan
140.
Reed, who of course beat him last night, the only man to do so. But he has looked a cut above the rest, not just of the players in this group,
99.
but in this week, hasn't he, so far, Steve West?
Yeah, I completely agree. And you look at it, he's still the ultimate professional. First in both days to get himself ready.
96.
Enjoys to
And he
get
required
in the venue, just chills
167.
for half an hour or so, and then gets into his routine. Those cheese
60.
grater darts.
Yeah, very, very grippy, looking to get a grip on the group. Danny Smith, though, looking to get
140.
into this
And he
group like a
required
wrecking ball.
107. $48.
Well, Lee should get a
Daniel,
couple
you
more
require
darts here.
65.
Doesn't.
Missed the big number, and you can see by the look on his face, Chris, disgusted with himself.
49.
Well, look, most players there would go the 25
Danny
route. That
required
gets you 2 darts
59.
at double. He ended up not even getting 1 dart at double by missing his intended targets twice. And that is a gift-wrapped chance for this man.
49.
But he can't take it.
Daniel, you require 16.
Edgy, nervy, cagey.
Games on the fifth leg. Daniel Lee.
Third break of throw in a row, and I'm sure when Daniel Lee missed those opportunities at the big number, he didn't think
Sixth leg is Daniel to
he was
throw
coming
first.
back.
Game on.
But he did, and he leads again and now throws for the match. A win would see him go top temporarily.
140.
Yeah, a couple of darts missed for Smith to lead 3-2. Instead, it's Lee who
45.
has that lead.
I'll be interested to see Daniel Lee with no pressure on him
100.
as well, because we've seen him do some very good things with pressure on the shoulders. But if he's through, I'm interested to see how he relaxes into the game as well.
54.
Yeah, and whether he does some maverick moves. Certainly something that could be in his armour. Also very interested to see what he might be like in front of an audience on Saturday, should he get that.
I'm looking forward to that part.
43.
Yeah, we drew some comparisons last night to Adam Warner. A few of you joined in, and feel free to do so again. At MSS Darts on Twitter, we'll monitor the page and
140.
read out any of your interesting tweets.
60.
So, again, mistake from Danny Smith.
42. Daniel, your record 158.
And you feel the writings on the wall here. 6 darts for 158.
100.
Ton leaves 58.
Yeah, all Smith can do now is hit and hope, and it's going to be difficult to hit anything big from there, but that's a great adjustment.
80.
Then his hope
Daniel, your record,
kind of disappears
58.
with a dart on the floor, and he will be feeling floored if Lee finds this double top to get the win. And he does get the win. Daniel Lee off to the start. He needed a 4-2 success against Danny Smith, who comes into this group from a standing start, and his task has become even harder as Lee moves, at least for now, to the top of the table. There you see the result. Daniel Lee 4, Danny Smith 2, Barza's bets in the mud.
Every Saturday, we open our doors for our weekly finals night.
For a unique and intimate darts experience.
Meet the Dart Stars and even the team off the telly
Here at our purpose-built venue in Portsmouth.
every single Saturday evening.
Tickets can be booked via this QR code.
Or at www.dartshop.tv for a very small booking fee.
Follow us at MSS Darts on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram and TikTok.
For all the latest ticketing news.
All you need to do, log on, book, turn up, and the action gets underway from 7:30 p.m.
So what are you waiting for?
Get your tickets to the darts.
We look forward to welcoming you to the MODUS Super Series very soon.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where Daniel Lee sealed a 4-2 success against Danny Smith to get his night off to the perfect start. And that means in terms of the group, he moves on to 8 points and top of the table. However, Steve West can move on to that mark himself if he can get the better of Dan Reed, who has already picked up a victory tonight. He got the better of Patrick Mark by 4-1 in the opening game of this session. So, watching this one, in comms, Chris and Phil.
Yeah, thanks, Henry. And Dan Reed also got the better, of course, of Steve West last night. So he'll be looking to repeat that feat and actually go level with West on points in this group after Daniel Lee got that victory over Danny Smith. I know that surprised you, Phil Bard, but didn't really surprise anybody else. Have you got a thought maybe to apologise to the viewers for that selection?
Yeah, wasn't one of my best when I'm try harder tomorrow for the final.
Yeah, peak at the right time.
100.
Of course, if you are having a flutter on the MODUS Super Series, always do so with care. Gamble responsibly. BeGambleAware.org for information on safer gambling. And it is, of course, 18 plus.
180.
What a start by Steve West. One of the markets that he would have been strong in last night would have been the 180s. 5 in one match
96.
last night. Was the match against Dan Reed, wasn't it, when he lost?
It was, yeah. Missed 5 match darts in that encounter. I don't think he'll be making the same mistake twice. Do you think, Chris, that the fact that Daniel Lee went first has overtaken Steve West temporarily will just keep West's focus sharp and on it?
Yeah, I don't know. Steve West, he's a difficult player to read because we mentioned it, when he's playing with a bit of freedom, he can just hit trebles and doubles at will. Grouping is fantastic, but he does tend to get involved in situations that
Stevie require 130
sometimes, and I think that's something he's worked on over his career, and he will try and stay sharp. Went for the treble 10, found the treble 10, and that is maybe, Phil, the answer to your question, because that is a really sharp start. He started that leg with a 180, finished it with a 130, and used only another 6 darts in between.
Steve to throw first.
Yeah, Steve West sending a statement to the rest of Group B. I'm still the man. I'm still the governor in this room.
But if he does win this one, he will go
60.
Joint top, back to the top on leg difference, level with Daniel Lee on 8 points, and will be 1 away from qualifying. In fact, Lee plays Mart after this, and then West takes on Smith. We could see both of those players through at the end of the next couple of matches, and then the remaining players duking it out for third spot.
60.
Yeah, Dan Reed will be encouraged by his performance in the opener. And if he can do the double over Steve West,
140.
all of a sudden Dan Reed becomes favourite to take that third spot. Or better.
Yeah, absolutely.
85.
And he played well, didn't he, in his first match? Make no mistake about it, an average north of 90. His doubling was where it should
81.
be. 4 out of 7.
That was the more important thing for me than the scoring, because after yesterday, it would have been easy to rock up today
60.
at the Live Lounge, still feeling sorry for yourself
140.
after missing a whole host of doubles, but he hasn't. He's come here, clean mind, fresh mentality, and looking at 10s to level
120.
Would have been his second ton topper of the night already, having taken out a 103 to win the match against Patrick Mart. But he will return
85.
3 in hand and
Daniel
double 10
required
at
20.
his mercy.
Game shown the second leg.
Clinical.
Dan Reed.
From Dan Reed. Breaks straight back. Level game. 1 apiece.
Yeah,
Phil
really
against Dan
good
to throw
start. Steve
first.
West with a
Game on.
dozen dart leg in the opener and then responded to by Reed with a 13 darter of his own, the break back.
56.
Fabulous adjustment from Steve
140.
West. Dart 1 wasn't really a marker, but made up for it with darts 2 and 3.
$100.
A couple of times this afternoon when we looked at the table to see what players were bringing up.
140.
Obviously, we had one extreme with Shane McGurk that had the pencil case, and there was one game where neither player brought anything up, no spares.
73.
Yeah, well, there have been occasions where that's seen a player come a cropper. I remember a game, Justin Pipe it was, at the World Championship, where he
60.
lost a dart or broke a point or something, and he actually only had 2 of his own darts and ended up with 1 of his opponent's spares. Mark Walsh, wasn't it?
That's what I was about to ask you. Can you name the opponent? And it was Mr. Mark Walsh.
85. Stevie Rock 161.
Steve West looking to conjure up a magical finish here. Treble 17. Would have left the bull.
97.
I feel this has to be big from Dan Reed to apply pressure on the 64. And that's a slip.
80. Stevie requires 64.
Last time he was here, Steve West was taking up too many sets of darts, but he was changing them. He's sticking with these,
Game shown
and
the
they are
third
working
leg.
for
Steve
him. A
West.
nice 64 combo to get another break in this match. And West 2-1 up.
Fourth leg, it's Steve
Yeah,
to throw first.
He's playing with the
Game on.
set that have got like a rainbow coating on. I'm not sure what the technical term is. It'll have some fancy name. But he has got the plain tungsten darts in his case with him here.
100.
Yeah, he was taking them up with him, and he was swapping between them last time he was here. And it seemed to just cause him an extra little issue.
100.
He actually practices with a... well, I call them a set of darts, more like a bag
57.
of nails, doesn't he? Little party piece of his.
Yeah, when you see him at exhibitions doing it, it's great to watch, but it's a real art to throwing them.
Yeah, seen a few things actually on the exhibition
82.
circuit. Do tweet in, let us know. Maybe that's a question we can run tonight. What's the most impressive exhibition shot you've seen? I think the Wayne Mardle blowing the dart into the target is
41.
up there for me.
Yeah, that's one of the greatest things in exhibition darts.
At MSS Darts. Let us know if you've seen anything out of the ordinary.
45.
Michael van Gerwen I've seen throwing with straws in the back of his barrels. Drinking straws.
136.
You've been to a few exhibitions, Phil. In your time, you must have seen a few things.
One of the greatest things I've seen at an exhibition
58.
was
Stevie Rock
George Noble playing
167.
pairs with Michael van Gerwen in Germany, with Wayne Mardle refereeing it.
Did he win?
97.
It was a real tight game, and then George found a 140 from absolutely nowhere to leave Michael a 1-darter to win it.
Hidden talents, eh?
140. Stevie Rock
Well,
70.
Steve West looking to showcase his talents here. Just taken out 64. He'd already taken out 130
50.
in this match as well, but he can't complete the
Daniel
70
requires
combo.
76.
Are we going to have 4 breaks of throw in a row? 16 for tops for Dan Reed, and 2 all.
56.
But this time it doesn't go, and you can see
Stevie
the
Rock requires
grimace
20.
all over his face as West comes back for 3-1.
Game show
That
the
will
fourth
be
leg.
a big relief for
Steve
Steve West, because having missed double in the previous leg that he lost and then missing more in this one, thinking he might lose it.
Fifth against
He would have
Dan
felt
to
that
throw
maybe the world was
first.
working against him, but now he's very much back in the box seat. A leg away from getting to 8 points, 2 away from guaranteed
60.
qualification, but it might even be enough with just one win tonight.
Yeah, you feel with Danley and Steve West, if he wins this game, both on 8 points,
125.
then it is a scrap for third place then for me. Although funnier things
60.
have happened.
Yeah, it will be an interesting run-in, that's for sure. But that pair of players will have come in
60.
to tonight just wanting to get the job done with as little drama as possible. So both to get convincing wins in their openers. And Lee will be out next up against Patrick Marr. If he wins that match, he will be
100.
the fourth man confirmed in the finals night field. Tommy Morris, Ryan Harrington and Shane McGurk, the others.
Yeah.
100.
Steve West popped in and watched a little bit of Group C earlier and about getting involved in dramas you don't need to. That's Shane McGurk all over. Was in a fabulous position
100.
overnight and had to wait until the second to last game to guarantee a place because he lost a couple early on.
Yeah, Lisa Ashton narrowly missing out this afternoon. Steve West not missing
180.
much tonight. Didn't miss much last night as well. Hit 5-180s in defeat to Dan Reed. He's hit a couple now in this match and he's a double 18 away.
100.
Getting
Steve
the win.
required 36. Game
Double
shot
18
and the
with
match.
one dart. And Steve West takes another step towards finals night. 4-1 defeat of Dan Reed. 94.16 average from simply Steve West as he heads back top of the table. Join us after this short break.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where before the break, Steve West got the better of Dan Reed by 4 legs to 1 in his opening game of the night, and really kicking off where he left off, kicking off with a 1:30 finish. Right, next up for us, Daniel Lee up against Patrick Marr. And as we have a look at the league table, if Daniel Lee gets a win here, move on to 10 points, and that in this group is going to be enough to progress your way into Saturday night's final. So he takes on Mart. Victory here for him would put him on to 6 points. Watching this one in the commentary box is Chris and Phil.
Welcome back, everyone, on Sporty Stuff TV and the MODUS Super Series YouTube channel. And here we are, Daniel Lee. This is match point game for him. 2 points here would seal a spot in tomorrow night's final.
Yeah, big match for Daniel Lee, the Birmingham boy, taking on the Dutch darter, Patrick Mart, who is looking to stop him from qualifying, and in doing
Okay,
so,
first leg, it's Daniel to
put
throw
himself
first.
firmly
Game on.
in pole position for that 3rd place. So we think it's going to be a 3-way fight between him, Dan Reed, and the outsider Danny Smith, who's of course only got 1 night
140.
to try and get there as a late replacement for Lee Shewan. You'd have to think that Steve
60.
West and Daniel Lee will make it, but he'd be better off just getting the job done and knowing he's there than hoping
72.
that other results make sure he is.
Be interesting to know if Daniel Lee
100.
knows he's through. Like when you spoke to Shane McGurk earlier, he had no idea he was through.
Yeah, I did say, it's quite funny actually, he went, am I
99.
through? And I said, yeah, that's why you're up here. That's it. It's a sure sign. If you get called up to the balcony for an interview, you
40.
are through.
Could we change the format and be really cruel to someone? Call them up to tell them they're not.
Yeah, it was an interesting one, because I think all of the 3
58.
players knew that they were all involved in the fight. But sometimes I think the players, it can happen to us as well. You get so caught up in the sort of permutations and leg difference.
100. Daniel, you're
you can
like
forget that actually if you
132.
win, you've got more points than them. And that's what sort of happened to Shane. But he will be happy.
He's a bubbly character, isn't he?
He is,
54.
but I felt both him and Ryan, they're sort of a little bit humble, a little bit, maybe even sort of hard on themselves. They talked about being lucky. Well, actually, they got
22.
there on merit.
Daniel,
They
you
got more
require
points than anybody else.
78.
Yeah, the league table doesn't lie, chaps. You have more points than the other 6.
But he went for the bullseye there. He's ended up actually hitting a single 18, which is really where he
58.
should have been going in the first place. Bull double 14 was the thinking for Daniel Lee. He is unorthodox.
97.
Yeah,
Daniel,
for the
you
viewers
require
watching,
20.
this isn't a new thing from Daniel Lee. He's done it all week. He will go his way.
Games on the first leg.
And he
Daniel
takes the
Lee.
opener. Daniel Lee is now 3 legs away from the final.
Second against Patrick to throw first.
And it is really not the start that Mart would have wanted. Having gone down 4-1 to Dan Reed, have to say,
140.
despite defeat to Steve West and despite a heavy defeat, in his first 2 matches, Reed has impressed much more than he did last night and is looking like the likely
25.
candidate for 3rd place.
Yeah, I completely agree, Murph, that for me, Dan Reed is the favourite right now for that 3rd spot. Just on what we've seen
137.
tonight, he looks more composed than the rest, and the numbers look better. Just everything around his game looks so much more
59.
likely at the moment.
Yeah, Steve West, top of the table on 8 right now. Daniel Lee, level on points and will, of course, qualify if he
100.
wins this match. West would do the same if he got the better of Danny Smith in the next game. Your tip to beat Daniel Lee, Danny Smith, earlier on tonight.
70. Patrick, you require
Phil, and
124.
he's actually 6th in a 5-player group.
It's not my finest hour.
39.
Well, Mart has made much better headway in this leg, but that could change here. Here comes Daniel.
125. Patrick, you require 85.
Didn't need to go 20 in the ball
45.
because Daniel Lee's not on a finish. Tees up tops, but what pressure will it be under? Needs another treble,
100.
doesn't find it.
Patrick, you require 40.
Could have actually gone bull there to make the finish slightly easier. And those margins can make a difference.
You're going to have to go for it, Patrick.
35.
Could have been on 117 here rather than
122.
122, so it's a small marginal gain, but they can make a difference, as I said. Single here leaves him the ball.
81. Patrick, you require 5.
Didn't look comfortable there for me.
I think he was a little bit scared of that
Game's
dart,
on the
in the
second
treble
leg.
18. It looked a little bit
Patrick Mart.
precarious. And Patrick Mart takes advantage in the end, winning the leg to level up the match at 1 apiece.
Third leg, it's Daniel to throw first. Game on. $140.
Daniel Lee straight back in the scoring groove on his darts.
Patrick Mart can do better.
180.
The first max of the match, and it goes the way of the Dutchman. And all of a sudden, Lee is under a little bit of pressure.
60.
Oh, things changing here.
$95.
See, this is what I was expecting from Daniel Lee in game 1, which is why I went for Danny Smith, Murph.
Yeah, I can see you thinking you were just wrong.
Yeah.
125.
just the wrong game.
Well, Lee might actually be managing to put it right in this leg after that 2 treble turn in the previous visit.
59.
A couple of those for him has kind of rendered the 180 irrelevant from Mart. But again, he's having to check his score mid-visit. I think it's something when he
80.
comes back, he might need to
Actually,
work on.
167.
At least that dart bounced directly backwards. We had one this afternoon that hit a referee, Justin Bradshaw, in the leg.
139. Daniel
We
required
had VAR
96.
check it and it was given not out.
Well, he's determined to... Oh, no, I thought he was going to stay there. He moved across, but actually he does do that, doesn't he, sometimes? He'll move across for different targets.
76.
He went
Patrick, you
double-double.
required 28.
Couldn't get it in the end, so Mart has a chance to lead.
For a break or throw. Now he's chasing 7s
14.
and has passed up
Daniel,
the
you required
opportunity.
20.
How much could Patrick Mart regret that
Game's
moment?
on the third leg.
Because he is behind.
Daniel Lee.
Daniel Lee doesn't give him a second go. The Birmingham thrower
Fourth leg, it's
is
Patrick to throw
halfway
first.
to victory. Halfway to a place in the final.
Yeah, both these players
100.
donning the ADC logo, representatives of the amateur darts circuit. Patrick Mart from the European selections. and
36.
Daniel Lee, an ADC Vault Series winner in the Midlands. Takes some doing that.
Yeah, the way the Vault
180.
series has taken off with the ADC is fabulous to see. And the association that we have with them,
100.
both here in Europe and in Australia, is great for the players. There's a clear pathway
140.
for them.
Yeah, and Mart is strutting his stuff, really.
140.
Flying that flag well.
Patrick, you require
100,
81.
180, 140 to leave 81 after 9. And now double 12
Game
for
shot
an
the
11
fourth
dart leg.
Patrick
Absolutely
Mart.
magical from Mart. 2-2.
Yeah, and this is a vast improvement
Fifth leg, it's Daniel
from
to throw
Patrick
first.
Mart from his first game to this one.
Well, you look at that scoring power. Couple of 140s,
100.
couple of maximums to go with the 6 tons. Here comes another.
99.
Say another what?
In his first match, he only averaged 79, no maximums. So he's turned around his fortunes here.
96. $134.
He has the Daniel Lee throw under some pressure here, Chris. Needs to find a treble
93.
and does last start. But another big visit here from the Dutchman, and he will be favourite to break the throw.
81.
Well, he's having a think here,
44.
and that is not what the doctor ordered.
Patrick Mark now has 6 darts at 187.
45.
So often it happens. One player fluffs a line, the other one thinks, right, this is my chance, and then they follow because they just maybe overthink it, put a little bit too much weight
142.
on the visit.
Yeah, try too hard, try and force them. Needs another treble 17. Would have left tops.
128. Daniel, you require 68.
There are a few options here. Well, he goes double-double. It ends up being single-single for tops. We've seen him do that on different
48.
targets, particularly using trying to use the double
14.
15, playing a safe dart in it. Tried it on the double 14 there. And because
10.
Smart had left an awkward one,
Daniel, you're
it's
required
helped Lee
20.
come back.
Let's just see if he gets rid of this first. Second dart at 10,
Game
finds
on the
its
fifth
target.
leg.
Daniel Lee is now 1 leg away from a place in the final. Patrick Mark will look back at that leg because he had opportunities.
6 leg, it's
but
Patrick to
couldn't
throw
take it.
first.
But going back to Daniel Lee, Murphy, he's quite a fidgeter on the hockey, isn't he?
58.
It really is. Jack in the box type player. But that routine at the end of legs is something new for me. I've not really seen any other player employ that kind of tactic.
40.
Yes, I've seen players go double-double with 3 darts in hand, particularly on shots like 80 when they're trying not to block the double top. But the way he does it, throwing a relatively
41.
safe dart at a double, knowing that he can then hit the single to leave a different double, if he goes with a single with a first dart, for me, that's something new.
It's new, it's
41.
fresh, and I like it. I can see a lot of sense behind the thinking.
51.
Yeah, really interesting, and it may be good to actually have a chat with him about his thinking behind that.
100.
Maybe if he is at finals night, we'll do just that.
28.
Well, right now, he's 320 points away.
82.
Yeah, closing in.
60.
When you said I wonder if he knows,
95.
I'm not sure that players actually do think about it at this stage of an evening because it's only his second match, isn't it?
96. Daniel, you're 143.
Here we are. Just looking for a blockbuster to win it in style. That's not going to happen. So can you just set it up?
Well, it's 63, so treble 13 or treble 17. He opts for the
131.
latter, and he
167.
does set up potentially qualification ceiling double.
55. Daniel, you're
Daniel Lee, this
12.
is your moment for a place in tomorrow night's final. Double 6. Oh, I think he walked. He thought it was there. It's not. Last start.
Game shot
And it is last
match.
start in hand.
Daniel
Saves
Lee.
Daniel Lee and books his place in tomorrow night's final. A 4-2 success over Patrick Mark. Congratulations to Daniel Lee. He is the first man to come out of Group B. Coming up after the break, we will see Steve West against Danny Smith.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where Daniel Lee is the first man through to tomorrow night's final from this particular group, getting the better of Patrick Mark by 4 legs to 2. And by doing so, he's now on to 10 points. Well, Steve West can join Daniel in tomorrow night's finale if he can get the better of Danny Smith, who needs to pick up a win if he wants to keep up his attempts to qualify for Saturday night, the Super Sub from Portsmouth. Watching this one, Chris and Phil.
Yeah, off the bench, but he might be put to bed if he loses this one. Danny Smith, we know that he already had a mountain to scale when he turned up at the Super Series tonight. Just one night, 4 matches trying to qualify. Steve West turned up knowing he only needed to win 2, and he won his first one against Dan Reed. Now looking to follow in the footsteps of Daniel Lee, who has just sealed his spot. So if it goes West's way, then there will be just one spot remaining in the field for finals night on Saturday. And everything we've seen so far suggests that a West win is the most likely outcome of the match, Phil.
Absolutely, Chris. I just think the scoring phase of this game will be the difference. Steve West will give himself far more opportunities at the outer ring than Danny Smith in this one.
100.
He can be a good scorer, Danny Smith, when he gets going. We have seen him hit averages north of a ton here at the Super Series when he's played before. So if he can just turn up for a game or two, he can put himself in the mix. But he's sinking in the quicksand if he loses to West here.
93.
Didn't take Steve West long
180.
into the groove. First maximum of this contest.
44.
Treble leaves a 2-darter.
41.
He's made a bit of a hash of that one.
We have actually tonight passed the 900 mark for the series in terms of maximums hits.
58. Stevie Rock 135.
Some of the players we've got coming up, that won't take long to get to 1,000.
95.
Seen the list for next week. Is it revealed tonight or is it revealed tomorrow? Anyway, it will be revealed soon and you will know.
57.
And when you know,
Stevie
you
Rock
will decide
40.
to watch.
It is very exciting. As West now goes to double 10 for 1-0.
20.
Rare
And he
missed
required
chance.
149.
These are the kind of moments that can make a player start to think it won't go their way. When they miss an opportunity and their opponent then puts in a bigger, can't manage it this time,
97.
but did threaten the finish.
Stevie required 20.
Steve West doesn't normally pass up second opportunities, but the shake of the head there wasn't happy with that one, as he's now chasing to double 5.
15. Danny required 52.
It doesn't go.
Game show on the first.
Danny Smith has punished Steve West, despite the maximum from Steve.
Second against
Cannot
Danny to throw first.
Get over the line.
Game on.
6 missed darts to take the opener.
57. 95. 96. 100.
Steve West back in the groove on the 20s. Not let those
45.
6 darts missed at a double in leg 1 affect him. West was looking for
56.
4 19s and a treble 20 to leave 170. Danny Smith, the same MO.
99.
Neither of them finding the target. But big visit here from West, and he'll be favourite to break straight back.
140.
Well, it is a big visit from West, but he had the biggest visit in the first leg, and that didn't help him in the end, missing 6 darts at double.
134.
Before
Stevie
Danny
Rock,
Boy
110.
got the job done. We'll get another dart at double here. And it will be his favourite.
75.
But he's fallen
And he
out of favour
requires
with
70.
it. This is interesting here.
The doubling radar is not on. However, is it for Danny Smith? 1 dart at double 8.
54.
You could see he got
Stevie
so
requires
close to it, it
35.
actually became a hindrance rather than a help, and West is off the hook here. Same target, same outcome.
19. Danny
Now we're
requires
seeing
16.
Steve West getting broiled. Story of his darting career.
Game show on the second leg.
Danny Smith opens up a 2-leg lead. Let's not
Third
forget
it's Steve to throw first. Game on.
that Steve West, not to qualify, would still need a couple of players in this group to get to 8 points
100.
themselves. It's still very unlikely that he misses out. But if he gets beaten heavily here, you're going to start to worry, isn't he?
Yeah, it's the
97.
0 from 10 is the concern here right now. He's had chances in both the opening legs and hasn't taken them. And look, Danny Smith's 2-0 up.
60.
But if you'd said to anyone that Danny Smith wins 2 legs in 40 darts against Steve West, you wouldn't have it, would you?
Danny Smith himself,
60.
of course, can only get to 6. So he's not going to catch Steve West, but Patrick Martin, Dan Reed could.
140.
And there's one big reason that the
81.
scoreline is like it is. There you see twice as many darts at double, but missed a lot of them.
97.
Yeah, even though it's 2-0 to Danny Smith, you just feel that this game is still all about Steve West because the scoring power
99.
will continue to give him
Stevie Rock,
opportunities.
104.
.32 scored.
32. Danny Rock, 164.
And the dart bounces out in between the other two. Now, this would be a roof raiser. Wants the ball for a 164.
139.
How
Stevie
close
Rock,
was that?
72.
Double 12. Double 6.
66.
And he's struggling in every
Danny
department on the
required
doubles in this
25.
match. North, east, south and west. The compass is confused,
21.
but he will get another go.
Stevie requires 6.
I think he's kind of chuckling to himself as he's throwing at this. Well, this will go in now.
No
It
score.
would have been the hardest dart at double he's thrown, but
Danny
he's actually
required
now
4.
missed 15 darts at double in this
Games
match.
on the third
A
leg.
match he's losing
Danny
3-0.
Smith.
Wow.
Not from 15.
Fourth leg, it's Danny to throw
Yes, you
first.
did hear me right.
Game on.
Well, the thing is, we have to sort of cast our minds back to last time Steve West was here. It was Champions Week. He'd won his week.
140.
And he missed out in the most cruel fashion, having been in a very good position in his group. Went into the very last game needing to win. Missed a lot of darts at double, including some for the match against Justin Hood. Is there a possibility that Steve West could find himself in a similar situation later tonight? I mean, it's all well and good, Steve, hitting 180s, but you've got to hit doubles, man.
No, even if he loses this one comfortably, I still think he gets through. I just don't see him not winning another.
121.
And it would mean Mart and Reed being perfect for the rest of the night as well. So it's still very much West's to give away and for
91.
that pair to take off him.
$140. Danny require 170.
West 180, 121, 140 to leave 60 after 9. Does this kickstart?
98. Stevie
comeback.
requires 60.
15 darts missed at double, and that one's just become a little more awkward.
Game
But he
shot on the
nails
fourth
it.
leg. Steve West.
And maybe there is a way back for West.
A moment of magic from Steve West, an 11 dart leg.
Fifth leg, it's Steve
Best
to
we've
throw
seen
first.
in this match.
$100.
He was shaking his head when he was missing all those missed darts at double, but that will just give him cause to relax.
41.
Good adjustment.
100.
Don't forget as well, this is Danny Smith trying to keep himself in contention. Talking about Steve West needing to win this one to confirm qualification. But if
134.
Smith loses this match, he's as good as out.
$100.
Even at 3-0, you never felt Steve West was out of this tie, did you?
140.
Well, yeah, there are two ways of looking at things, aren't there? One is that he couldn't hit a double for love nor money, but the other is kind of what we were attributing to Dan Reed
60.
last night. Missing 15 darts at double meant he had plenty of chances in all of the legs that he lost.
Yeah, and
59. Stevie Rock 141.
$101.
57. Danny Require
Leaves
127.
84. 127 for Smith is not going to get a dart to win it in this visit.
46. Stevie Require 84.
Well, Steve West working his way back into this one. Remember, if he wins the match, he goes
Game's on
through.
the fifth leg.
He's edging closer.
Steve West.
Suddenly, Steve West has found what he's been looking for.
Sixth leg, it's Danny to throw first. Game on.
This is the moment for Danny Smith. He has the darts here and has to use them.
134. $100. $59.
That's been the story of Danny Smith's night so far. Started with a fabulous 2 treble visit, but then comes up dry. It's the consistency that he's lacking.
140.
Steve West steps in.
$43.
Right now, Murph, even though he's behind, Steve West is the favourite for me because he's effectively taken the darts here.
60.
He's just settled down suddenly, hasn't he? He was getting darts in every leg at double anyway, but he's started hitting them. And Smith is the one that will feel panic because, as you rightly said
57.
earlier on, Phil, it's very unlikely that even if Steve West had lost this match, even 4-0, that he wouldn't qualify. So he would be feeling like, well, it's a bit of a, outlier.
177.
Whereas Danny Smith knows he has to win this match to have any realistic chance of getting through himself. And that's an absolutely sublime setup from Steve West, who just
77.
turned the tables
Stevie
completely on
24.
their head.
Looking at double 12 for a 13 dart
Game's
leg.
on the sixth flag.
And 13
Steve
darts
West.
it is. In the blink of an eye, Steve West has rallied from 3-0 down, and the expression from Danny Smith says it all. He looks bamboozled
Seventh and final
by
leg, it's
West.
Steve to throw first. Game on.
Starting to find those 19s
96.
with alarming regularity as well, as far as Danny Smith's concerned. Steve West really has turned this around.
And remember, he was 0 from 15.
60.
And now he's 3 from 18.
Yeah, so since then, 3 from 3.
The impressive thing as well is,
140.
even with all those missed darts at a double, he's still averaging 90.
Yeah, fantastic. And he's really turned it on the trebles,
100.
not just the 20s, but the 19s as well. He may well start on the 19s here. Fill it up, Steve. Never in doubt.
171.
The last hurrah.
180. Stevie Rockwan, 94.
94 to complete a remarkable comeback. 72.
78. Danny Rockwan, 161.
Yeah, Danny Smith looking for a blockbuster here. Steve Westo will return. Only problem is, Phil, that he's
83.
missed.
Stevie
He might go on
Rockwan,
another run.
16.
Missed his first 15 darts at double, then hit 3 on the spin.
Game
And he
shot
does
and the match.
get the double
Steve West.
that sees him qualify for finals night. Steve West completes a great escape from 3-0 behind against Danny Smith. West has turned it around. Despite all those missed darts at double, 17 in total, he's averaged north of 90 and has booked his place in Saturday's session alongside Daniel Lee, who is back in action next. And it's now all about the race for third place. Dan Reed Paisley after the break. He will be looking to make the move.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where we've reached the halfway point of our evening, which means it's time for some half-time analysis from Phil Bars. And Phil, we've kind of got what we expected this evening, that little bit of drama, but a couple of names through. Yeah,
as we said earlier, the top two win a league of their own, and they've booked their place in finals night quite quickly, getting the points they needed, wrap them up. Don't get me wrong, there was a little bit of drama along the way. Steve West having a little bit of a meltdown on the outer ring for 3 legs, but refound that composure. And the scoring phase was superb. Still averaged 90 despite all those missed starts at a double.
Well, let's have a look at the results then for this evening's session so far. And in the middle portion of the table, how important could that 4-1 win for Dan Reid at the beginning of the night be in proceedings?
Yeah, it could be absolutely huge. And more importantly, it was his mannerisms on the doubles, because he wasn't good on them yesterday. Missed so many opportunities, but he was clinical in this game. And just in his mind, that will just settle him down so much. And for me, he's now favourite to take that 3rd spot in this group.
What's been your thoughts on Patrick Mart so far?
He's been a little bit unlucky. He's done enough to be in and around, but just at those big moments, I think he's lacked a little bit of composure.
Well, this is how the table reads then at the halfway point of our second night here at the Super Series. Now, of course, 6 players in this group due to the withdrawal. Lee Shaw and Danny Smith coming in, and, well, he's going to feel more than an opportunity missed, isn't he, squandering that 3-0 lead to Steve West?
Yeah, look, he had to win that game. It was must win if he had any chance of getting through. He's just playing for pride now, but he can play the spoiler because he still has some big games in front of him.
Well, we do have a couple of players through then to tomorrow night's final from this group. Let's begin with Steve West, because he was the standout player on night 1. And he kicked off in impressive vein, didn't he? A 1:30 checkout to kick off his night. And then, well, against Dan Reid, just continued to do the business. Yeah, look, we said up here before a dart was thrown, he was the class act within the group, and he's shown that. Top right now, hitting 180s for fun. Yes, there was a little bit of a doubling disaster, but he put that right quickly and then recomposed himself, bagged the points, and he will be favourite for me tomorrow night. That test against Danny Smith, because he got over the line and because it's in a group phase and now he's through, can he actually look at that as a test that puts him instead going into the battles he may face tomorrow night? Yeah, absolutely. And now it is all about preparation for tomorrow night, getting his head right, because you can win a place in Champions Week. That's where the big money is. I know that it's a fabulous check to win tomorrow, but every player wants to be in Champions Week. Only 12 places there, so tomorrow night is going to be huge now. Most certainly. And someone who's going to get there for the first time because he made it through on debut is Daniel Lee, getting the job done. And he's been ultra impressive this week with some maverick finishing on top. Yeah, he is a maverick, and I like that. There's just something about him. He does it his way on that stage. He owns it. He prowls up and down. He's a fidgeter on the oche. He doesn't settle, but he's always looking for an angle here, an angle there. And I like the double-double route. The first start is safe, but it gives him an out. And I really like that. He's thinking about these finishes, and it's impressive to see. Variety is the spice of life, and variety is what the Super Series is all about. And next up, we are going to see Daniel Lee in action. He takes on Dan Reid. Watching this one in the commentary box, Phil is going to join Chris Murphy.
Thank you very much, Henry. Yeah, a meeting between the already qualified Daniel Lee and the trying to qualify Dan Reid. And Phil thinks that he is the man to watch in that race. Patrick Mart also very much in it. Both of those players have 4 points to their name. It will be interesting to see how Lee now plays the game. I mean, he plays it in a maverick, unorthodox way when everything is on the line. Now he's already qualified. We might really see the shackles come off and him do all sorts of weird and wonderful things. But Dan Reid, well, for him, it is all about business. You can see there. This is the highlight of his career so far, Daniel Lee, qualifying for the MODUS Super Series as a winner of the Vault Series in the ADC. Now, just to put you completely in the picture, if Dan Reid does win this match, it will mean, of course, that Danny Smith is mathematically eliminated. The same will go if Patrick Mart wins the next match before Smith plays again. There is still the outside chance that Smith can beat both of those players and qualify through the back door, but they'd have to lose to him
140
and their other fixtures tonight as well. In that case, he'd go through on leg difference. So not all yet lost, but as good as. And
100.
Maybe the little sort of sharpness, Phil, the mental engagement that Dan Reid will have in this game compared to Daniel Lee, because he's already through,
45.
could be a difference.
It could be. I'd be interested to see if Dan Lee knows he's through, because when we were up on the balcony, Steve West was up there just chilling before he went back into the practice room.
100.
And he wasn't aware until he heard Henry and I talking about it. So it'd be interested to see if Daniel Lee knows he's through.
45. Daniel Rock 161.
Yeah, well, Dan Reed looking for a blockbuster start. But they do get a
97.
monitor in the practice room. They can see the coverage and the league table is shown at times. I know some of the darts players' counting is not the best, but if you are 6 points clear and there's only 4 to play for your opponents, then I think you're pretty safe. Dan Reed, though, he's the one who needs to win the match.
38.
And we saw how that had an effect on Danny Smith in the previous match from a brilliant position. 3-0 to the good, he lost it.
58.
Yeah,
Daniel require 8.
The match in the palm of his hands and it slipped through his fingers.
Game's on the first.
Dan Reed makes no mistake this time around, though. Holds to lead 1-0. And again, we talk about Daniel Lee being
Daniel Lee to throw
a bit of a character. There's a fire in Dan Reed's belly right now. Growling away to himself. He knows how big this is. This is a chance for him to put pressure on to Patrick Mark
44
in this Group B table. And when it is so close, you want to get the first blow in. Make them chase you, not the other way around.
100.
I know you're backing Dan Reed here, Phil. What is it about him that gives him the edge over Patrick Mark?
34.
I just think for me, what I've seen tonight, he looks more composed. At times, Patrick Mark's scoring has been super impressive,
60.
but just lacked a little bit of composure on the outer ring for me. Thrown a few darts a little bit quickly, didn't seem set.
59.
Dan Reed, whether he's playing well or not so well, everything's always still the same. The mannerisms, the temperament is still the same, and I just think that will get him through.
100. $66.
A little bit snatchy, the last couple of darts there. When the pair met yesterday, Lee won the game 4-3.
100.
It was one of those early games where Reed was getting plenty of chances but not taking them.
He's carving another opportunity here, is Dan Reed. He's on to a finish.
96. Daniel Rock 141.
1-4-1 normally at the end of 2 maximums.
$81. Daniel Rock 102.
Leave 60, but 102. But Dan Lee to level us up is going to get a dart at tops.
82.
But drags it low.
Daniel Rock
Dan Reed
60.
will be back for 2-0.
Well, that should be no problem for him.
Game's on the
And
second.
it is no problem for him.
Dan Reed.
And the scoreline makes very good reading for Dan Reed. Halfway
Third
to an
against Dan Reed to
all-important
throw
win.
first. Game on.
And don't forget as well, leg difference could indeed come into play. And you had a worse leg difference on Patrick Mark before this match by the virtue
58.
of 2, so he's wiped that out already and will be looking to build on it.
Yeah, Dan the man is doing what needs to be done
100.
right now.
A reminder, if he does win this match, that is the end of the road for Danny Smith, and it is a straight fight between him and Patrick Mark, who's into bat next
135.
against Steve West.
$84.
Is that in? Oh, look at that. Managed to sneak it in.
128.
Fabulous angle that is, and how that's gone in, Murph.
Didn't even think there was room for another
140.
point where he put it, but he managed to find a way. Couldn't get the third treble when he went for the 20s to leave the finish, but he's going to be in a very strong position in this leg, and he's already in a strong position in the match.
100.
This 177 needs to be left very handy.
60. Daniel require 80.
Doesn't find the treble. So Dan Reed looking at 80 for 3-0. Single 20 for a dart at tops.
Game
And it
on the
goes
third
clinical
leg. Dan Reed.
from Reed. Dan Reed is now on the hill. However, word of warning,
Daniel Lee
we saw this scoreline
Game on.
in our last game. And we all know what happened.
Yeah, Reed has been a different beast tonight.
125.
Remember, cast your mind back to the start of the show on Thursday night when Dan Reed was installed as a joint favourite for this group with Steve West.
140.
And he struggled and struggled before beating West in his last match.
44.
Sorry, penultimate match, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's West's last match, Dan's penultimate.
And he just got that win that
60.
really gave him a chance. Now he's making the most of it on Friday and could well be in the field on Saturday.
75.
Won't be scared of that. He can use those kind of darts, but now he does come down.
57. $100.
What Dan Reed would give for a minimum of a 140. Can he slide one along the barrel?
140.
The answer is yes.
Daniel 157.
This 157 may have to go. It's not going to.
$66. Daniel require 104.
To take a giant step towards qualifying himself and really ask the question of Patrick Mart, who's coming up next. It's not happening yet, but 91 is
56.
certainly
Daniel, you require
no
91.
easy out. Does he go double? Double 17? That was the plan. And he can see he's frustrated having gone next door.
Yes, and this goes back to the conversation you and I had yesterday. I'm critical where he hasn't gone for the ball
Daniel
there
require 48.
with dart one. But Dan Reed, for a huge result, is going to get 2 darts at tops. Is that a good guide? Can he use it?
8.
The answer is no.
Daniel, you require
Managed
48.
to sandwich a point in between the first dart and the double. Now Lee tries to show him how it's done and does show him how it's done. He won't roll over. It's obvious that he is an ultra competitor.
Fifth leg, it's Dan Reed to throw first. $85. $123.
Is that the spark that Daniel Lee needed in this game? Starts off with a 2 treble visit.
100. $40.
But can't back it up, Murph, and he'll be disappointed with that one.
Yeah, again, it's we're not mind readers. We don't know whether he knows the
85.
situation. I think in this situation you should know you're through because it's pretty simple. But the way he's getting frustrated, is it just down to the way he's playing? Or does he actually think this
85.
match has significance for him? It certainly has significance for Dan Reed.
Judging by his mannerisms, I don't think he knows.
140.
I think he's beating himself up because he believes he needs to win.
$60. Daniel require 91.
So far, clear. He should know. He's not going double 17. He's backing himself for a treble. Lee, of course, not on a
51.
finish, so probably the sensible thing to do.
Yeah, when your opponent's not on a finish, I don't mind it. It's when they're on a manageable finish.
59. Daniel
Well,
required
Dan Reed
40.
has found double top very manageable for most of this match. Can he manage to find it again to win the match? Yes,
Game
he
shot
can.
on the match.
And Dan Reed makes his move. He asks the question of Patrick Mart. He'll be in action next. Daniel Lee already through, of course. Pat on the back for Reed, who won that match 4-1. Decent display in the end, but all important, getting the 2 points and moving into third place in this group. And if Patrick Mart is going to go back there, he's going to have to beat Steve West. That's coming up after the break.
Well, welcome back everyone to the MODUS Super Series. Before the break, Dan Reed picked up a crucial 2 points, getting the better of Daniel Lee by 4 legs to 1. Now, because of that victory, putting Dan Reed onto 6 points, that has now officially eliminated Danny Smith from contention. Next up, Patrick Mart looking to keep pace with Reed on that 6-point mark. He takes on Steve West, who has already qualified for tomorrow night's finale. Watching this one in comms, it's Phil and Chris.
Thank you very much, Henry. Yeah, very much the case that Patrick Mark now needs to respond to that victory from Dan Reid in the previous match. Steve West, well, he can just play with freedom, knowing that he is safely through along with Daniel Lee. Although, that knowledge, if he was aware of it, I mean, look, I know, Phil, you said he looked like a man who didn't look like he was aware of it, but I can't see how you can't be with such a strong margin.
Okay, first
I'm
leg,
sure
it's
Steve West
Steve
is
to
aware of
throw
it. In fact,
first.
you said he is.
Game
because he
on.
was up on the balcony when you and Henry were talking about it. And look, you can go two ways, can't it? You can lose that mental edge. Of course, you're throwing your darts and you're focusing on the job in task,
41.
but just that little bit of mental engagement can disappear. Or you can completely relax and play your best stuff.
Yeah, and for me, with Steve West, it's the latter.
80.
I think with no pressure on him, he will just relax. And that treble 20 could be in for a little bit of a battering.
Well, you're getting good at this, Phil.
140.
But going back to the point, it was interesting that after Steve won that comeback game against Danny Smith, he genuinely didn't know he was through until he heard us talking about it.
Yeah, I find it odd. I mean, I get it when it's really tight in groups and it might be leg difference, or you may be only a couple of points ahead, or
60.
it's because other players have to play each other. But come on, Steve, you can work it out, mate.
100.
I think that defeat to Dan Reid last night might have stuck in his throat a little bit, having won his first 3 matches, so he might have felt he had to do more than he did have to do to get through
100.
tonight.
Yeah, he was talking about that earlier, and it did annoy him because he felt he played well enough to win
160.
all 4 games last night.
We also now know, of course, that Danny Smith can't qualify. He can't make it to 6 points, which is what
55.
Dan
Patrick
Reid has just put
required
himself on.
46.
Patrick Mark, the man, looking to level with him, and he hits a 6 to leave
Game
tops,
shot
and he
the
pins
first
that
leg.
for an
Patrick
early
Mark.
breaker throw. We may yet get a bit of a grandstand finish in this group.
Yeah, this could be
Second against
the
Patrick
race to
throw
the
first.
line between Patrick Mark and Dan Reid. Could have the excitement we had this afternoon.
100.
Yeah, Reid back in action in the next game against Danny Smith.
100.
Could be all over after that if West wins this and Reid wins that, but if Mark can get a victory here, then it's going to go down to the
96.
last match of the night.
That's a run for cover because of the way
43.
his darts stand up, blocking the bed.
$81.
That first dart is perfect. It's just saying, hit me.
140.
You could say that again. He hasn't
81.
managed to use it. Does leave a finish, but it's a big one. And West is coming for him.
180. Patrick 143.
Treble 17. Leaves double 16.
127.
Would have
Stevie
been
required 38.
a roof raiser here at the Live Lounge.
Game show on the second leg. Steve West.
A pair of 14 dart breaks and we're level
Phil
at one
against
apiece.
Steve to throw first. Game on.
We now know 5 of the finalists tomorrow, Chris. From what you've seen, is Steve West going to be the favourite heading into the final tomorrow?
Yeah, I'd be surprised if he wasn't, but the one player I don't want to discount is the new kid on the block, Tommy Morris.
177.
Really impressed when he stepped in as a sub last week and then got the chance again this week as a late replacement. And he, I think, is one to watch.
125.
West will be the favourite because of his stature, because of the way he's played this week. But I certainly think that Tommy Morris may be more than a match for him based on
100.
the evidence of what we've seen.
Could be a thrilling encounter tomorrow night. Remember, if you haven't got your tickets yet, dartshop.tv
133.
or scan this QR code we have on the screen for you now. Tickets are free, just a small booking fee
100.
when you head over to the website.
West has booked his ticket. Lee has booked his.
56.
Patrick
Patching
Mark still
124.
in the mix, but in desperate need of victory here. And that's a great start. And that's a fabulous second dart.
Game
And that
shot
is
the
a
third
perfect
leg.
finish. The
Patrick
1-2-4
Mott.
pinned by Patrick to get the lead against the league leader.
Fourth leg, it's Patrick
Yeah,
to
and he
throw
threatened
first.
that big finish
Game on.
in the last leg, missing double 16 for a 1-4-3. This time he pins the 1-2-4 for a third consecutive
41.
breaker throw. And right now, I'd love player cam on Dan Reed.
134.
Shall we speak to the powers that be and see if we can get a little room like in the World Cup when there's a big game going on and the other player
140.
that isn't involved has to sit there with a camera on them?
Yeah, it has been suggested before, hasn't it, in these groups? You always get these scenarios on Fridays, and
60.
I actually feel most sorry for the player that ends up on stage not affected by the race, so they're effectively playing for somebody
125.
else. And whatever happens, they're going to be the villain, because they're either going to beat the guy on stage and knock them out, or they're going to stop the player sitting backstage getting through.
100.
What a spell this is from
71.
Patrick Mark.
Yeah, this is fabulous.
96. Patrick required 24.
Steve West leaving 111. I was about to
80.
say Patrick Mark
Steve
was averaging
Maguire,
111, but that
111.
would have taken a bit of a nosedive after those misses. West might pick his pocket here.
71.
Well, he knows
Patrick requires 6.
what a moment that was. But what a moment this is. This has to go. That's awkward. Can he find room to
No
the
score.
right-hand side? The answer is no, he
Steve require
can't.
40.
What is it that Bobby George used to say?
Still one of the best sayings ever. Scores for show.
Game shot on the fourth leg.
Doubles.
Steve West.
For dough, and Steve West gets the dough, gets the double, despite all that power scoring from Patrick Mark. Brilliant spell from him, including that fabulous 171. Despite missing those darts at double, he's still averaging in 3 figures here, Patrick. Up there with the best we've seen from him this week.
140.
But it went West's way, and it's 2-2.
Yeah, he's rising to the challenge, but he'll be disappointed. There was a golden opportunity there.
81.
Yeah, and look now. West is very much in control. A drop dart doesn't knock him out of his stride. Now, Steve West does have to be careful with things like that. We mentioned it yesterday. He's got this
100.
hip injury. He's actually waiting for a hip replacement
Forget
60.
Bionic Barry Vampire. We'll be calling him Bionic West. It's also remarkable that he can still play to this standard
140.
with the hip in that state.
$100. Stevie require 121.
Takes off the 25.
81.
That's pretty cool, wasn't it, from Steve West?
Knows his way around the board, doesn't he?
100. Stevie require 40. Game shot on the
There
fifth
we
leg.
go. Fantastic
Steve
stuff.
West.
Cucumber cool stuff from Steve West at the end of that leg.
It's an interesting little tell there
See
from
it's
Patrick
Patrick
Mark.
to throw first.
We haven't seen much emotion from him, but the shake of the head when Steve West hit that takes me back to the last leg when
100.
he should have been 3-1 up and instead it was 2 apiece. He would have been on the cusp of a huge 2 points where now he's staring down the barrel
140.
of a defeat to the league leader.
Yeah, and it could be massively damaging because he doesn't play again until the last match of the night. So if Dan
134.
Reed wins the next match, then that will be that. Matt really needs to win the next couple of legs.
Yeah, nothing worse as a
57.
professional sportsman knowing your fate is not in your own hands. Nothing you can do about it. I know we laughed and joked about having the monitor on the
97.
player that isn't playing, but he'll be sat in that practice room knowing there is nothing he can do to influence what's going on that stage.
100.
Can he
Patrick
keep his
Roy,
feet at the
170.
table by eating up the big fish? It's not going to happen. That's a good recovery, though, because that first start was
81.
way off the mark.
How handy can Steve West leave this 204?
60. Patrick
Not that
Roy,
much pressure.
89.
57 for double 16.
57.
Well, this will be massively
Stevie
frustrating
Roy,
for Patrick if
144.
Steve West pins this, because he's producing, I think, his best performance of the week here, Patrick Mart.
I completely agree. I think this is the best version we've seen of him. And
44.
he still averages
Patrick Roy,
97
32.
despite only being 2 from 11.
2 from 12.
Game's on the 6th flag.
But he gets
Patrick
the third,
Mart.
and we are going to have an enormous leg here in the context of the race for third place. If Patrick
7
Mart
from
can break
final leg,
Steve West,
Steve
and that's
to
no
throw
mean
first.
feat,
Game on.
then he will return to level with Dan Reed.
97.
Battle lines will be drawn, and it will go down to the final match, whatever happens.
Yeah, this is the biggest
30.
60 to 90 seconds of the week for me.
Yeah, and the first 5 seconds have not gone very well for Patrick there.
And the expression on Steve West's face, you wouldn't
43.
know if he was winning, losing. It's always the same. Doesn't give much away.
Oh, look at this. Is he giving this away?
40.
Is he giving it away? 30 followed by 40 in a leg he needs to win to keep his fate in his own hands.
Would love to see Dan Reed's reaction
60.
right now. Because fate will be in his hands in match 7.
135.
Good correction, though. Very good correction.
$125.
A good response from Steve West. Kind of going with each other. Needs a treble minimum here.
60.
Can't get it. And now Patrick Mart. Well, he's teetering on the tightrope.
92.
Steve West has left a 2-darter. You can see the expression on Patrick's face. He knows this has been a golden opportunity, and he's fluffed his
81.
lines.
Stevie Roy, 84.
Yeah, we talked about whether players know positions. You can tell he knows the significance of this leg. It's a leg that Steve West could win on the ball.
43.
I thought he would have gone for it, Phil.
55.
We've seen one blockbuster. We're not going to see another, and West will be back for
97.
41.
Stevie Roy, 41.
Chuckling away to himself at that bull attempt, but now he goes to Old Faithful, misses that, double 10, and Steve West delivers a blow
Steve West.
to Patrick Mart's chances. West wins the match 4-3. It was a very decent darting display from Patrick Mart. In the end, the average actually dropped to 92.46, and the fact I'm saying drop tells you how good it was up to that point. A fabulous 1-2-4 finish in there as well, but punished for missing 10 darts at double, and punished even more severely for a very sloppy start to the all-important deciding leg. And that now means that if Dan Reed beats Danny Smith in the next game, Mart will be out and Reed will be through. So do join us after this short break.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where we're joined by one of our qualifiers for tomorrow night's finals, Steve West. Many, many congratulations. You're back at finals night.
Yeah, pretty excited really, but I've still got a game to go, you know that, and I just want to win every game, make sure.
There seems to be something about this format which is clicking with you. What do you think that is?
Yeah, I think you can sort of, if you do slack off a little bit or you don't hit doubles and, whatever, you've got a chance to come back and be stronger from it. So,
going into tonight, obviously 6 points from your first day. What was your mindset when you went into proceedings?
I didn't have one. I just want to win. And you just go in, play darts, win, go home.
And hey, you kicked off in good style, that 130 against Dan Reed, leg one.
Yeah, I probably upset him a little bit, but, if them sort of things happen, go in, you can just go and relax and play, it's there. So even if you throw bad, it's going to come.
Then that Danny Smith win is a different type of victory.
Yeah, I mean, I should have won that 11-0. It's just one of them. I couldn't hit a double for 3 legs, and then when it did click, it went really well, and 3-0 down. When it clicked, it was 4-3 to me, and I'm taking it home. It's nice.
Well, we can have a look at the table now, Steve. Of course, it's not a completed table as of yet, but you're sat there on 12 points, 6 wins from your 7 games. And as I say, you're back at Saturday night's final, and you had that taste of Champions Week before in this competition. How much would you like to have another go at that big jackpot?
I need to go there because I sort of let myself down last time out, leading the group both days. And then the very last game, the very last leg, I sort of let myself down a bit, and that really hurt. So I want to make that right, first and foremost.
And how much going into this week, was that something that kind of gave you that little bit of inspiration?
Yeah, a little bit of motivation for that. I'm not going to, I've let me down, I've let a few other people down, and I don't want that to happen again, so I'm not going to let that happen again.
Well, Steve, many, many congratulations. Of course, one more game to go, so we'll let you go and prepare for that because there is still plenty to play for here at the Super Series. Next up for us, it is Danny Smith up against Dan Reed. It sounds like a little bit of a comic book match, doesn't it, when you've got Desperate Dan up against Dan Reed? But two men who definitely aren't having a Beano on a Friday night are Chris Murphy and Phil Bars.
Yeah, we'll leave the comic activity to you, Henry. But great to see Steve West through after his disappointment last time he was here. Fair play. Group winner of this group as well, even in the unlikely scenario that Daniel Lee catches him on points and leg difference after when they play, in fact, in the last match. You have to win 4-0 to do that, but West has already secured enough legs to make sure he'd still win the group on legs won in that unlikely scenario. Danny Smith, well, his race is run, we know that. No longer desperate for points, just playing for pride. And Dan Reed is playing to qualify for finals night himself. All could be signed and sealed after this one, after West got that win against Patrick Mart.
Okay, first leg is Danny Smith
just needs to pick up victory here.
Game on.
And he will fill the final place in the field.
It was also interesting listening to Steve talk there and the way he feels that he has unfinished business from Champions Week last time out, where, in his own words, he let himself down, needs another go at it, and I like that. The desire is still there, it's still burning with inside Steve West.
$60.
When you were walking through the practice room, Murph, did you manage to hear any of the conversations between the players?
Do you want me to be honest? I didn't walk through the practice room.
You went the posh way?
Yeah. I was worried that some of them might have heard my commentary at some point.
96.
You did give me the message, if I'm not back in 5 minutes.
Yeah, send out a search party. No, I think now it's a different atmosphere, certainly to last night. But
44.
It's a different atmosphere to this afternoon as well. I know it was a friendly group, but they were went on for so long with so many players still in the mix. Even players that we've still got a couple of players fighting, but we've got a couple of players that have been through for a while, but really knew they were probably going to be through. We've got Danny Smith, who probably knew it was going to be too big an ask, and certainly did after losing one, definitely 2 matches. So it's only really Dan Reed and Patrick Mart that have got any kind of
140.
intensity about them. I think Mart is the one at the moment who will be feeling a little bit flat because he definitely had his chances against Steve West.
Yeah, it was arguably his best performance of the week.
180, Danny, we're going
He couldn't
106.
convert.
Great darts from Reed to pile the pressure on Smith with that maximum. Don't think he wanted the 10. Think he was going for the 6. But the 10 will do just as well. Double 18 the target, and he pins
first
it.
leg. Danny Smith.
Happy accident for Danny Smith, and I always like that one. We see it so often.
Second
Even at the
against Dan
highest
Reed to
level,
throw
they just
first.
throw in that area, and they're taken aback when it goes the wrong side of the wire.
Yeah, after Reed had hit a 180 as well. Might have cheered
100.
Patrick up a little bit.
Yeah, of course, that if Danny Smith
57.
can win this tie, then our final match of the session is going to have everything riding on it.
96.
Yeah, so currently, Dan Reed is in 3rd place. His leg difference is -3. If he loses a match, it's of course going to go down to at least
96.
-4. And Patrick Mart, 2 points behind him, is on -5. So you won't have to win massively. Danny Smith,
126.
even though he's not had an impact, the impact on the group he would have wanted for himself, he may yet have a huge impact on which one of that pair go through. He plays both of them.
Yeah, the way the fixtures have
134.
panned out, he's going to have a huge say on this.
And then we've got Lee West in between. That's just kind of a victory parade, isn't it? Maybe we'll see some exhibition stuff
95.
in that one, because surely they now both know they're through, Phil.
You'd like to think so now, wouldn't you?
I mean, Steve West must, because Henry's just told him.
84.
And you
Daniel
see the
Require,
gesticulation there
84.
from Danny Smith. Didn't like the darts somersaulting in the air, suggesting the release was all wrong. And Dan Reed might rescue this shot.
Game shot on the
he
second
has.
leg. Dan Reed.
Fabulous salvage shot there from Dan Reed to tie up the match at 1 apiece.
Third against Danny Smith to throw first.
Just looking
Game on.
as well, I know it's all if, buts and maybes at the moment, but with the leg difference so close between
97.
Patrick Marks and Dan Reed, we could be digging the abacus out again.
Steve West winning the group, by the way.
59.
That puts him in Group 2 tomorrow. So it means the man we mentioned earlier, Tommy Morris, and Steve West,
93.
they won't meet in the group stages. Morris, the Group A winner, will be in Group 1.
Interesting that fate has kept them apart again.
100.
It doesn't happen very often, but
134.
glory final, if you want to call it, was West against Morris. First time they meet, maybe in the final.
Yeah. And of course, for Tommy Morris, it'll be the
140.
first time he's ever met Steve West, because he's not really made that foray into big-time darts, has he? He's been happy enough playing locally, and this has been his sort
93.
of holy grail, wanting to get to the Super Series.
He certainly made a splash on debut, that's for sure.
Well, Danny Smith,
130.
Still looking to make
Danny
a little-
Require, 84.
impact of his own. And he can do it by betting the ball.
59. Danny requires
The ball
72.
doesn't go. So this is a huge moment for Dan Reed. 72 to break in a must-win game. Tops.
Game
And
shot
it
on the
goes,
third
and we
leg.
heard it.
Dan
the great
Reed.
big come on for Dan Reed. He knows the importance of it. We get the come on. He's snarling,
Fourth leg, it's
pumping
Dan Reed to
himself
throw
up.
first.
Dan
Game
Reed
on.
is in the mood here.
Qualification beckons for Reed if he wins this match. Nothing Mark can do then.
30.
Ghetto in Price-esque from Dan Reed there.
57.
That was an experience when we were in COVID times playing behind closed doors. The Gerwin Price roar with no crowd in is certainly loud.
85.
Yeah, he didn't temper it, did he?
I love it as well.
Tell you what, Tommy Morris has got a bit of that about him as well.
97.
Not the same sort of aggression as Gerwin Price, but he does have the sort of stage presence. He's not afraid of a big bellow.
125.
We have got some firecrackers in the final, haven't we? Because Daniel Lee owns the stage as well.
Yeah, Ryan Harrington, another player who,
59.
well, if he follows in his dad's footsteps, certainly won't shy away from any little bit of aggro. But in his last match, when he knew he needed to win today, really was focused and determined and let it all out, didn't he?
If he follows in his dad's
100.
footsteps, we'll have to make the exclusion zone bigger.
Yeah, we'll have to get a big stage referee in for tomorrow night, I think.
100. Daniel Rock, 161.
Do you know anyone?
Wait and see.
55. $100. And you require 106.
Great start. Again, he's gone in between tens and tops.
Game shot
And
the
he's
fourth
taken
leg.
out
Dan
Double
Reed.
18, just as Danny Smith did earlier. The exact same finish, the exact same way.
Yeah, and it's the exact opposite of
Looks like
last
it's
night.
Danny
Dan
Smith to
Reed
throw first.
could not buy a
Game
double.
on.
And in this game, he's 3 from 3. The finishing has returned.
49.
And right now, Dan Reed is just a leg away from booking his place, the final place in the showdown tomorrow night here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. Remember, tickets
85.
are still available. Dartshop.tv is the destination you need to be here tomorrow evening.
140. $45.
Danny Smith has to be perfect from here. Has to win 3 on the spin
100.
to keep this alive.
$60.
After that 106, Dan Reed's just gone a little bit flat.
180.
Danny Smith steps in. Huge max from the Portsmouth man.
140.
Leaves 32.
They require 32.
After 12. And to cut the
Game's on
gap
the fifth leg.
to 1
Danny
is a
Smith.
13 dart leg. And Danny Smith is back in this game. Very, very close game. Look at the averages.
Sixth leg is Dan Reed to throw first.
Both deep into the 92 region. But this is the leg for Dan Reed. He has the darts. And passageway into the final is in his
100.
own hands.
$58.
Well, a penny for the thoughts of Patrick Martz.
95.
He's waiting, watching, and cheering on Danny Smith, a man he only met a few hours ago.
57.
He never heard of him before he walked into the practice room tonight. Now, all his hopes are in his hands.
In the next few minutes or so, he could be his new best mate.
Oh, he's got a bit lucky there as well with those
49.
sprayed darts. Found everything but the treble he wanted. Danny Smith, though, needs to hit big to give Patrick a leg up.
55.
That is nowhere near enough. Dan Reed gets away with one there.
Edging closer to completing our field for finals night on Saturday. Tommy Morris, the
140.
Group A winner. Already there. Shane McGurk and Ryan Harrington got through from Group C. Steve West has won this group. Daniel Lee
57.
going through with
Daniel
him. And if Dan Reed
117.
completes this finish, he will be the final name in that Super 6.
Not going to finish it this time around, but we'll be back.
57.
Danny Smith needs trebles.
I tell you what, we've done well. We've done Daniel, Danny and Dan. That's the first time that's happened.
Yeah, to be fair, we were saying
98.
beforehand, it was like,
Danny
we're going to
requires
get this wrong at
60.
some point, and to go this far, we've done well.
Double top then. And still.
Good
And Dan
shot and
is the man.
match.
And he
Dan
will
Reed.
be on stage on Saturday at finals night. And he knows it. He enjoyed that victory and he was good value for it. He's been good value tonight. The biggest reason his doubles have sharpened up. It's been a different world in that department tonight from Dan Reed. 4 out of 5 in that match. Amplifies that point. And he completes the field for finals night. 2 matches still left to play. Daniel Lee and Steve West, who are going through with him, will play after the break. But Dan Reed has made it a Super 6 for Saturday's session.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where our Super 6 is now complete, and it's going to feature this man here, Dan Reed, back in the final here in Portsmouth. Many congratulations.
Yeah, no, thank you very much, Henry. You've made hard work of it, but no, I played all right tonight. Do you know what I mean? I struggled big time yesterday, but I'm just happy to get through in 3rd place. Happy days.
I'm just going to pass you this mic here. I'll just do it lollipop here. So just describe what it was like going into tonight's action here at the Live Lounge.
Yeah, it's one of them really, because I thought I didn't perform at all yesterday, and I just thought just a free roll, and I had to win that first game against Patrick, and I turned up well, to be fair. I played well the first game, and just happy to win 3 out of 4, really.
Was that literally the mindset going into tonight's action, just try and get as many wins as possible?
Oh, 100%. Like the first game was big for me. I thought if I lost the first game, I think I was out really, and I come out well, to be fair, and I won. So happy days.
And there's a little bit of a score to settle, isn't there, between you and Danny Smith as far as qualifications concerned?
Yeah, last time we was in Group B, Danny beat me, and that probably cost me getting through. So it was nice to get one over on him this time.
So back into tomorrow night's finale, and I know you're local enough to the area, so is it going to be a case of bringing all the family, bringing all the friends down?
Yeah, 100%, yeah, hopefully everyone comes down, and yeah, on to new day tomorrow. Level playing field, so no, looking forward to it.
Well, let's show you some of your best finishing then over the course of the last couple of days. We just have a look at the monitor on your screen now. We're going to show you some of your ton plus checkouts over the course of the last couple of days. And, well, this was the 106 that you hit just now against Danny Smith. And that was vital, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, because Danny started really well, and I thought, I've got to hit this to get through, really. When I hit that, I thought, I got you, to be fair. But, no, I'm just over the moon to get through, Henry. Really am, yeah.
Well, many, many congratulations, Dan. We're going to see you in the final tomorrow night. We'll let you rest, recuperate, and get ready for the big occasion tomorrow night. So, a couple more games for us to go. That's going to kick off with Daniel Lee in action up against Steve West. And watching this one in the commentary box, Phil and Chris.
Welcome back, everyone. And our top 2 in Group B go head-to-head here. Steve West, the winner of Group B, and the runner-up, Daniel Lee, in what could be called a victory procession, Murph.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we could see both players just do a few fun things. Look, we know how flamboyant Daniel Lee is. He's an orthodox, he's maverick. But Steve West has been known to play a few tricks in the past when things are a bit more settled and he doesn't have to play for things. We saw him hit 3 bulls earlier in the previous series. Wasn't a 3-ball finish, a 3-ball setup shot instead, but all good to see all the same. So do watch out for a few.
Okay, first leg, it's Daniel to throw first
in this one. That's my
Game
prediction.
On.
Yeah, I think the bullseye will be frequently used.
$96.
Yeah, I do like to see it, particularly at the right time. When they know they're through, they'll be full of confidence. They'll be looking ahead to tomorrow. And West, as the winner of this group, as we mentioned, will play in Group 2, along with Dan Reed, who's finished 3rd in this group. And this man will be in Group 1, along with Ryan Harrington and Tommy Morris.
180.
I actually think I'm looking at the groups there, and we'll show them in more detail, have a discussion at the end of the show. But I'm looking at that thinking I can see Lee getting through to the semi-finals.
Yeah, I'm really excited now for finals night tomorrow. I think we've got an interesting blend, a mix of players, personalities.
60.
Could be something special.
Steve West.
100. Stevie Rock 161.
Getting a maximum in this leg. Can he produce a firework finish? He won't.
91. Daniel, you're 136.
Another one of them. For double 8.
Game
oh
shot
my,
the
what a
first
start
leg.
to this one.
Daniel Lee.
Daniel Lee pins a ton-topping finish for a 15-dart hole to throw.
First. Game on. $100.
As I said, the opposite groups, but really, when two players are through to finals night, do you think that they start to think, let me get an advantage over him.
81.
Going into tomorrow, I might meet him again at some point. Or do you kind of think they don't want to give anything away sometimes?
Yeah, sometimes I think they don't want to give anything away and just try and
100.
surprise their opponent. But when you've had so many battles over the week, unless, like we said, you've got the
41.
Group A winner and then the Group B winner that don't perhaps meet to the final, then the element of surprise is there.
100.
Daniel Lee. Quick out the blocks
60.
for that fabulous 1-3-6 finish.
Yeah, West had hit a 180 in that leg, don't forget as well. He's
100.
playing at a high standard. He's shown some fabulous stuff. I mean, this is consistency personified, isn't it? 100, 100, 100,
45.
100.
Stevie require 101.
For the perfect Super League leg back in the day. People of my age and generation will understand what that means.
82.
Yeah, well, he could have had perfect on paper, but the finish certainly wouldn't have been perfect, would it? That was not the intention.
No, that's not the way he would have wanted to go.
45. Stevie require 19.
3 for double 8.
11.
Comes inside though, but he will be back. Daniel Lee not on a finish this time around.
$162. He could go anywhere here.
87.
Full board.
Stevie require 8.
Steve West, we're keeping you up, Steve. Little yawn before he
Game's on
threw
the
that
second
in.
leg.
That might wake him
Steve
up.
West.
Not a spring chicken anymore, is it? Late night for Steve.
Well, they'll get an earlier start tomorrow.
Feel like it's
7:30.
Daniel
A
to throw
reminder, the
first.
action gets
Game
underway
on.
at finals night. Now, if you are watching us here on Sporty Stuff TV, the group games are played exclusively on the Modus Super Series YouTube channel. So make
100.
sure you are following, you subscribe, and you can watch the action there from 7:30. The semis and final from 10 p.m. will be live on Sporty Stuff TV.
60. 87.
Plum first dart. Just surprised dart 2 didn't nestle alongside it.
140.
Of course, one of the beauties, Phil, of the Super Series is that every year there'll be a new intake of players who have maybe lost a tour card, not gone to Q School or not got through Q School.
136.
Who for you is the one that has been the best, the standout player of those players that have sort of made the name for themselves in professional PDC darts
60.
before? Is it Steve West?
There's a couple, obviously. Robert Thornton, the pedigree that Robert has, winning 3 majors in his career, 2 in the PDC, 1 in the BDO. Hendo,
Yeah,
and Steve, they're the 3 that instantly jump out to me.
140.
Thornton hasn't really brought it here, though, has he? Steve and Henderson both have.
Yeah, no, I agree that when you look back at, I think it's a mentality thing with Robert, because we've seen him go to the
35.
seniors and he's not been in
Stevie
any
Maguire
real form,
101.
especially this World Championship just gone. And many pundits, myself included, I didn't think he could defend his title, but it just clicked.
81.
He thought about that ball. He did think
And we
about that
require
ball.
5.
So yeah, but certainly the ones that have,
No score.
that one had a little bit too much.
Yeah, we've seen them do some wonderful
Stevie
things. I
require
mean,
20.
that was just weird.
Yeah, that one threw us both.
Yeah, well, we'll come back to that in a moment as West tries to hunt down this, because I've got another name that I'm going to bring into the equation. 555
Game's on the
gets it.
third leg. Steve West.
Yeah, for me, in terms of the players with that PDC pedigree and bringing it here, the one that goes under the radar because he didn't win his
Fourth
week.
leg, it's Steve
He'd
to
only
throw
played
first.
1 week. He was excellent
Game
in
on.
it. Andy Bolton.
I agree, yeah. Andy Bolton played some really good stuff. And another one that, now you've said that, springs to mind. Last time he was here
66.
was unlucky. Was Andy Hamilton.
Yeah, former world finalist, of course, no less, the Hammer.
I thought last time he was here, he played some really good stuff.
100.
It was the first week of the series, wasn't it? Andy Hamilton appeared. We're now into week
100.
5. Getting to the halfway stage of filling that finals night field at the end of next week. That Champions Week field, sorry.
99.
But like you said, every year there's going to be people dropping off the tour because the way it works, they all can't win their tour cards back.
Yeah, and we're going to lose players to the PDC Tour. Some people are
99.
using this as practice, a breeding ground for their future. Others are actually opting not to go. I mean, Steve West himself didn't go to Q School this year.
No, and
38.
But we've mentioned these two a few times, that Adam Warner came here and the £5,000 that he won paid for him to go to Q School. Before that, it wasn't really an option, and he went on to win his tour card. Graham Usher, who for me has been one of the best players that I've seen at the Super Series. That spell he had
44
in Southampton
Stevie required 56.
for the Champions of Champions Week during last year's World Match Play was one of the best spells of darts I've ever seen.
Yeah, absolutely. Good little spell here from Steve West, a 180.
36.
Not followed by the 56 finish. It will be a really
31.
good
Stevie required 20.
B campaign. This, if Steve West wins this match, he'll go through with 14
Games
points
on
and
the
just
fourth
one
leg.
loss.
Steve West.
That's some way to go through to finals night, and he needs just one leg to complete that record. And don't
Fifth leg,
forget
it's
as well,
Daniel to throw first.
the
Game on.
match that he did lose, he mismatched darts, didn't he? He lost it in the last leg. It's been a really dominant showing from Steve West in this group.
Yeah, you summed it up there perfectly,
134.
Marth, that although there is that little one blemish, it should be perfect. And the way he's played deserved to be perfect as well.
45.
Yeah, he will be
60.
feeling confident. I'm sure, we've been talking about whether or not he's the main man. He'll be feeling like he's the main man, won't he?
Yeah, absolutely. He's got that aura around him, which will be interesting to see when they meet in the practice room for the first time. Tommy Morris and Steve West.
137. $140. Daniel, you're 170.
Big Fish is not threatened by Daniel Lee.
50.
Steve West will be looking to pile pressure on the 120. Pressure applied.
180. Daniel, you're
Fabulous
required
maximum to
120.
leave double 18. But will he get a go? Single for a dart at tops. Oh, I like that. The flatty.
I'm not sure it was intentional. I think it might have flicked off the
100.
flight and diverted into
Stevie
that position.
required 36.
We'd love to see that again at some point. This, though, for the match and to end what has been a glorious Group B campaign. 99.
27.
Not there yet.
Daniel, you're required 20.
Well, we will find out whether that was intended or not. Now he's chasing.
15.
And he can't chase
Stevie required 9.
double 5. Steve West looking to tidy this 9 up. That's different.
Game shot out of the
Different,
match.
but target
Steve
still
West.
hit. Steve West pins the 9, as in the score 9, to seal a 4-1 victory over Daniel Lee. 14 points. Steve West is the Group B winner. Only one defeat on his textbook in this group. Coming up, After the break will be our last game of the session, and it will be Patrick Mart against Daniel Smith.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series. Before the break, Steve West rounded off his campaign in perfect style, getting the better of Daniel Lee by 4 legs to 1. That moves him on to 14 points, having won 7 of his 8 matches. Right, let's round off proceedings then. We're going to see Patrick Mart and Danny Smith in action. Neither player able to qualify for tomorrow evening's finale, but they're looking to finish on a high. And watching this one, Chris and Phil.
Welcome back, everyone, on Sporty Stuff TV and the MODUS Super Series YouTube channel for our final game of this thrilling Group B session.
Yeah, well, we do know the finalists. We can talk about that more. I know you'll have a chat with Henry at the end of the show, but Patrick Mart or Danny Smith won't be amongst them. So let's start there. Smith, of course, he was only in as a replacement for Lee Shewan, who pulled out with an injury. And Patrick Mart, he's been here.
Okay, first leg, it's Patrick to throw first.
Throughout the week.
Game on.
Finished in 3rd place in Group A, but that doesn't tell the full story. He was top of the table on Tuesday, having won all 5 matches. And then on Wednesday, he lost all 5. So not to qualify for finals night will be a bitter pill for him to swallow.
It will. But I think he'll learn a lot from this experience, and I think there's a lot to like about Patrick as well. I'd like to see him get another opportunity here at the Super Series. I think he's done enough to show us there is a player there, a little bit more experience on the ADC Europe scene, some competitive darts, and I think he can come back a real force. There's a lot to like. Yes, it's not polished, but there's enough to show us that he can come here and do damage.
And we talk about it all the time, don't we, that there's an
140.
advantage in getting to Group B, but how many times do we see a player really in the mix to win Group A and then don't make it through Group B?
Yeah, it's almost like a
58.
hangover from not getting the
Patrick
job
Iroquois,
done.
41.
We've seen it a few times this series as well, some high-profile casualties that haven't come through.
Game shot on the first
But he
leg.
does want to
Patrick
finish on a high,
Marks.
as you said, and he started this match in sensational style. 140, 180, 140.
Second
goes
against Danny
out.
to throw first.
In a dozen darts. A 1-0.
Yeah. There's Danny Smith going to respond.
100.
Solid enough.
59.
During that short break, Murph, I went to the practice room to find out the answer to the question, was it the flatty or was it the deflection?
99.
You said before I went in there, it was a deflection. I can confirm you were correct.
40.
That Daniel was very honest and he said, no, it just clipped the flight on the way through.
Yeah, of course I was. But that is interesting now that we even have to
56.
have those debates, because there was a time even 3-4 years ago when the flatty had never been heard of, so we'd have just assumed it was a deflection. Now we have to think, has he thrown it like that
41.
on purpose? Or
Just shows the evolution of the sport, that players are thinking about this, and it's an interesting one that I can't remember who I was having the conversation with, but
100.
we were talking about the snooker and darts crosses and things that they do the same, and we were talking about the Ronnie O'Sullivan switch hand where he plays the left down the rail
21.
because it
And he
opens up
require
and it's the easiest shot to play. It
146.
doesn't have to get the rest out. And I think it was Matt Edgar I was talking to us about. Do we think we'll ever see a player be good enough with both hands, two switch hands going for a certain double, and open the bed up like that? Because we use 16s and 10s as the example, where double 10 is a
83.
left-hander's dream because of the angle. And if you're a right-hander and block it, do you think we'll ever be in a position where a player will switch hands and have a go
41.
at the double
Danny
with the left
requires
hand?
63.
I think they will, and I'll answer the question in full after this leg, because there's one I have in mind in particular. Danny Smith looking to end the leg.
43.
Hasn't quite managed it. But yeah, there's a player that you mentioned already in commentary today who is capable of doing that.
I've seen him do it as well.
49. Danny
Let's see if
requires
Smith
20.
throws this with his right or left. Well, he
Game shot on
gets
the
it right.
second leg.
That's important. But
Danny
yeah, Graham
Smith.
Usher, he's ambidextrous and he can throw just as well with his left hand and his right hand. And sometimes you'll see him in practice
Third
starts
against Patrick to throw
switching hands
first.
and throwing his last three with his supposedly weaker hand. So I think that Graham Usher,
85.
he's told me that he's done it in sort of local matches and playing with his mates. But one of the reasons he doesn't do it is because he doesn't want his opponent to see it
58.
as disrespect. Now, there was a time when people used to see double-double finishes as disrespect. So I think, yes, at some point people will do it and their opponent will understand that there's a reason they've done it.
85.
Yes, it was a real intriguing one. I remember on Graham Usher that we got him to do it in the practice room for us, where he put two on the outside, switched hands and opened up the bed and hit it.
140.
Yeah, I can actually confirm as well that I can throw just as well with my left hand as I can with my right.
46.
Big fan of that.
Yeah, I've got no control where the dart's going with either.
58. $121.
Surprised. Well, the third dart didn't join the other two there. It looked so inviting.
85. Patrick, you require 164.
164 can be done. Won't be done.
98. Danny require
Interesting as well
160.
from Patrick there that most Dutchmen we see now go the new way of two treble 19s there, but he's gone old school.
140.
Let's see
Patrick,
which
you
way he
require
goes here. Treble
66.
10 is the approved route. And now tops.
26.
Danny Smith.
Danny required 20.
Pegged double 10 in the previous leg. He wants it again to lead the match. And he
Game
gets it
shot
again.
the third leg. Danny Smith.
Here's a breaker throw.
Fourth leg, it's Danny to throw first. Game on.
I like that even though it's been a tough night at the office, Danny Smith still smiling away, still doing his thing up there.
100.
Yeah, can still pick up some points, can't he? Danny Smith. He's giving it a good go. Didn't pan out his way. He looked back at that defeat earlier when he led Steve West 3-0. That's maybe the moment when it all went wrong for him.
96.
I think the moment it went wrong was when the man alongside me tipped him to win his first match tonight.
Cursed him, didn't I?
41.
But late call, I mean, it's another thing, isn't it, that people don't think about. But a lot of these players, they're aware weeks in advance of when they're playing and they build up to it, they prepare for it. It's not just turn up and switch it on. So to get a late call today and come and play at a decent standard, full credit to him.
Yeah, he's giving it everything.
100.
I know a lot of sort of players who play at a
140.
decent sort of standard themselves in local comps and that will think that, you know, they have to just go and turn it on because they work all week and that kind of thing. But you think about some of the top
50.
professionals, they're
Danny
practicing
McGuire,
for
87.
a particular tournament months out.
Yeah,
Oh, he's thinking, we'll come back to that, he's thinking whether or not to go 20 bull here because Mart's on 170.
62.
He did it because he was on a
Danny
finish, but I
McGuire,
get the feeling
170.
he didn't really want to do it.
No, I think he wanted just to plonk one in the single number to come back with 3 in hand.
60. Danny required 25. Game shot on the
Yeah,
fourth
nicely
leg.
done. Might
Danny
sign off with the
Smith.
win.
But yeah, going back to your point there, Murph, as well, that you hear most of the top professionals in the game that after the
Fifth
World
leg is
Series in
Patrick to throw
August
first.
into September, then I know there's plenty of TV tournaments there, but their focus instantly turns to Ali Pali and getting ready for December.
95.
Yeah, there's a change in the practice routines. Practicing for longer because you're going to be on the stage for longer, set play formats. Also,
57.
certain players who target the World Grand Prix will start practicing doubles a lot more. But it's a few months out. It's not just a few days before the tournament.
45. $94.
Well, that was a nice little conversation while it lasted, but Phil has left the commentary box.
180.
Not because he's sick of me, but because he wants to go and have a chat with Henry at the end of the show.
100.
There he is, actually. He's backing Danny Smith again, isn't he, Phil? He thinks
45.
he'll win this leg. That's why he's left so early. But Patrick Mart has got other ideas. A 180 in the leg, although not much around it. In fact,
60.
45 either side of it.
136.
But it's 136.
45.
Well, 3 out of his last 4 visits have been 45. The other one has been 180.
44. Patrick require 91.
Well, anything you can do, I can do worse. Double 17. Double top.
71. Danny require
Right,
146.
can Danny Smith sign off in style?
$60. Patrick, you require 20.
Double 10 for the Dutchman.
Game shot
And he
the fifth
finds
leg.
it.
Patrick Mart. Sixth leg, it's Danny to throw first.
Danny Smith.
Game
I'm
on.
sure he will be determined to get over the line here. Doesn't want to end on nil point.
57. $140. 100.
Good dart. This is not looking good for Danny Smith anymore.
140.
Patrick Mart is making a move against a throw and would have the darts in the decider.
32. 100. 58. Patrick, you require 121.
I went for the 25 with a second
81.
dart because Smith's not on a finish, so didn't have to end on the bullseye.
$121. Patrick, you require 40.
Made to wait. Oh, and is that tricky? You can see it leaning
20.
in. Managed to get
They
past it,
require
but not
133.
into the bed. And Smith once again has a chance to win the match, but he won't take it.
35. Patrick, you require 20. Game shot on the sick flag. Patrick Mart.
Got a little smile, Danny Smith. He's been through this tonight.
Seventh and final leg is Patrick to throw
Who
first.
calls himself Desperate Dan
Game
will feel
on.
like he's running to Dennis the Menace, Dick Dastardly and everybody else this evening. Just has not gone his way.
99.
3-1 lead in this match. Likely to be surrendered as Mart has the darts in the decider. A 3-0 lead against Steve West.
29.
Remind me not to ever let Danny Smith take my dog for a walk. Can't hold on to a lead.
100. 60.
Well, is Mart going to send him home without any
60.
points to his name?
$134. 96.
He's waving to someone upstairs now.
95.
Enjoying himself, Patrick Mart.
146.
He's saying, look at what I'm about to do.
58.
What he's about to do is attempt an 88 finish to get over the line
59.
and just get a
Patrick
slight
require
tonic for what will
88.
be a disappointing week. Remember what we said, he was top of Group A on Tuesday. A nice bit of fun here.
63. Danny require 124.
Couldn't quite complete the flamboyant finish, and he may pay for it because Danny Smith's going to get a go himself. And he's going to get a go at double 11.
118.
That's the wrong bed, Danny.
Patrick require 25.
That's a long way off.
Danny
So Smith
requires
still gets
6.
an opportunity to get some points on the board. Double 3. No room at the inn. Can he force his way through? What a dart that is. Fabulous dart for Danny Smith to pick up the win. His first win, his first points. A bizarre end to the game when Matt tried the unconventional finish and then Danny Smith somehow flew a dart in double 3 when it looked completely blocked, but he does pick up some points. Neither player will be in action at finals night, but Danny Smith, fair play for coming and giving it a go as a late replacement, and he gets his just rewards in the end. A 4-3 success for him, and now to round off the evening's action, over to Phil and Henry.
Chris, thank you very much indeed. Phil alongside me to analyse what we've seen this evening and throughout the course of the last couple of days. And we can only begin with Steve West, really, can't we? Gone through the card, 7 wins out of his 8. Superb.
Yeah, and I know we keep going back to it, but we said he was the class act, and he's proved it again and again in this Group B. 7 wins from 8, should have been 8 from 8, but walking through the practice room, he's in good spirits, he's enjoying it, and he knows he's a threat coming into tomorrow. And what I was interested in was his mindset about the disappointment of Champions Week, and it does still hurt him, how he wants to put that right. That's a winning mentality. That's something that you can't buy. That's bred into someone.
Well, let's see then the final standings in this Group B table. As I say, Steve West, the victor of it. But Dan Lee, you've got to say, look, debut for him in this competition, get through to finals night. He's done the ADC proud.
Absolutely. Breath of fresh air. Didn't know a lot about him. We knew he played at the UK Open this year, lost to Conor Heenahan, someone we do know very well, but put up a really good fight in that one. So we knew he had ability. Winning a vault event is not easy either. So he comes here full of confidence, and he's shown that and deserves his place in the final.
As for Dan Reed, big push this evening after a slow start yesterday.
Yeah, but we said yesterday, even though it was slow, he still had chances in every one of his games, and it was his doubling that let him down. He put that right from the get-go tonight. His finishing was on point, and that's what got him through. He played the same as yesterday, apart from he took the chances he created.
He most certainly took those opportunities. One of the Super Six are going to make their way through to the final tomorrow evening, and this is the cast list in full for tomorrow evening's red carpet occasion. And we keep forgetting, it's all the way back on Wednesday. Tommy Morris was the victor in Group A. In fact, a fair few of the players who made their way through to finals night didn't even start when Morris went through.
No, it's going to be interesting because it's a real blend of youth, experience, pedigree in that lineup. I'm really excited about tomorrow. It could be one of the best finals we've seen because of the blend of players that we have. There is genuinely a little bit of everything as we head into the final tomorrow.
Well, let's have a look then at the 2 groups that are in play tomorrow. It's fair to say that at the beginning of play, maybe Steve West and Tommy Morris are the favourites, and they avoid each other in the pool stages.
Yeah, me and Chris spoke about this on commentary, and there is a scenario where they may not meet until the final, and it would be their first ever meeting, so they haven't had a chance to feel each other out and see where each other's game is. They could meet in the final. Look, there's so many darts to be thrown before that, but just looking at it, I'm so excited. 2 tough-looking groups, and each one of those 6, you can make a case for them to come out of those groups. So the 2 that doesn't are going to be disappointed, but the ones that do are going to have to work extremely hard for it.
Most certainly. What else do we want to be doing on a Saturday night, Phil?
Absolutely nothing else here at the Live Lounge. Remember, there are still tickets available, dartshop.tv. Now we know the lineup. I'm sure they will go quickly, so make sure you're there.
There's a couple of local boys here as well, so those tickets are going to be going very, very quickly. Well, that is the end of our coverage on what has been a bumper marathon day here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. And as far as Group B is concerned, West was the one who was looking the most north.